The manhwa begins in a busy marketplace, immersing us in the vibrant bustle and noise of the crowd. Our attention shifts to the bustle of the fruit stalls. A man with a dog puppet waves his hands emphatically as he complains about the quality of the goods. He suggests cutting open a watermelon to inspect it. The seller, a towering figure wielding an axe, responds with a rough, booming laugh that cuts through the negotiation. His eyes burn with barely contained anger. The man accuses Xiao Mu of being a coward, demanding to know why he's there. His voice shakes with intensity, causing nearby onlookers to pause in their tracks. The hefty man takes a swing at the protagonist, his threats sharp and menacing, vowing to carve him up like sausage. The man chuckles in disbelief, impressed that the fat guy is actually a master of martial arts. Xiao Mu reflects on the tragic tale of his family, wiped out by the butcher Zheng. Now, he swears vengeance for everything that was taken from him. His fists move with lightning speed, a blur of strikes landing one after another, leaving the arrogant brute no chance to retaliate. But a swift punch to the nose sends him flying, leaving a comical streak of red slime in his wake. The entire crowd stares in awe. The hefty man stands frozen in shock, while the brave yet foolish challenger is utterly defeated in mere seconds. There lies Xiao Mu on the ground, toothless and nursing a broken nose, grappling with the realization that this marks both his end and a profound humiliation. The salesman revs up his sleek motorcycle and speeds off. The crowd yells after him, accusing him of murder and calling for pursuit. Xiao Mu stumbles to his feet, bathed in an eerie glow, his body racked with sharp, searing pain. He muses on his impending demise, as if it were an ordinary inevitability. Crouching beside his lifeless form, he demands an extravagant reward from the system for enduring such a death. The system flashes its analysis, skill points, resurrection tiers, and new abilities. The man ponders how to best allocate his points to maximize his potential. Xiao Mu requests the Fist of Immortality skill from the system, but informs him that his previous death didn't meet the criteria to unlock it. Unwilling to let the butcher escape, the immortal deliberately incites further attacks, aiming to kill himself repeatedly in order to accumulate more skill points. The fat man admits to murdering the child who had accused him of annihilating the Qiao family. His voice quivers with a mix of fear and regret. He questions how the child could have known about the tragedy, his suspicions growing as he recalls that the entire family was supposedly wiped out. Suddenly, the man catches sight of Qiao once more. His eyes widen in realization as he understands that he has somehow cheated death. His body feels invigorated and his mind sharper than before. Xiao Jing declares that he is here to avenge his brother, Xiao Mu. Consumed by rage, his eyes blaze with unyielding determination. Xiao Mu picks up his opponent's knife, gripping it with steady confidence. Death holds no fear for him, as it poses no real threat. The man finds himself facing an unforeseen challenge. His movements are hindered, and his adversary shows no signs of backing down. The opponent concedes that Xiao Mu surpasses his brother in skill. The fat man vows to avoid mistakes in their next encounter. 5 minutes later, our protagonist is sent flying once again from the pig strikes. Yet, he wears a satisfied grin, knowing he has emerged victorious once more. It is rumored that Xiao Jing has perished. The fat man remarks that, though weak, he fought valiantly for his brother's honor. The butcher begins contemplating his daily routine when suddenly, a weapon zips past his face, startling him. Xiao Jing swears to avenge his brother's death. His voice drips with fury, but the man remains unfazed, calmly preparing for the fight ahead. In response, the butcher readies himself to kill the little nuisance for the third time. Even the pigeon perched on his shoulder seems taken aback. After some time, the fat man reluctantly admits that slaughtering youngsters is more exhausting than he anticipated. The man surveys the battlefield, pondering how many foes remain. The same body lies scattered everywhere, a grim testament to the ongoing fight. The system updates its display, skill scores, immortal fist proficiency, and ratings have all dropped. Only one resurrection remains. Xiaomu contemplates whether it's possible to recover the lost points. His mind races, seeking ways to refine and enhance his abilities. During the fourth bout, the man relied solely on 20% of the fist skill. He realizes this strategy is no longer viable. The fat man observes that each new opponent grows stronger than the last, their power inching closer to that of the butcher himself. Just as the man begins to think it's the end, a distant voice interrupts, assuring him that it's far from over. He braces himself just in time to catch the final blow, which sends him sprawling into a distant, forceful knockout. Xiaomu gazes contentedly at the lifeless body of the butcher. It's finally over, and despite everything, he has emerged victorious. The man stumbles upon a hidden letter confirming Xiao's murder. His thoughts drift back to his first death and the C rating that followed. Parts of the letter remain cryptic. Xiaomu decides to take it to his sister, hoping she can help unravel its mysteries. The immortal makes his way back to Sister Suz. His voice is steady but tinged with exhaustion from the long and grueling journey. His blind sister, with her strikingly large eyes, greets him by reaching out to touch his face. "Where have you been?" she asks softly. The sister notices a change in Xiaomu's voice. Doubts creep in about whether this man truly is her brother, but he makes no effort to dispel her suspicions. Xiaomu proposes a way to prove his identity. His tone is confident, yet a flicker of irony dances in his eyes. The man reflects on the events of the past month, then repeats a phrase that only the girl would recognize as proof that he's indeed her brother. She pulls back, her beauty fully revealed, and says softly, "It really is you." Our hero exhales in relief. After his family's disappearance, Xiaomu notices that his eyes have begun to shift. It's a sign that the eyes of heaven will soon awaken. The man acknowledges that his sister is the sole remaining member of the Qiao family. Her spiritual awareness and extraordinary talents make her untouchable by their enemies. Xiaomu reminds his sister of their pact. He aids her in exacting revenge, and in return, she teaches him the technique. His tone is firm but free of aggression. The sister assesses whether the boy has enough strength for further training. Her words carry a hint of skepticism, yet beneath them lies an undeniable trace of concern. The nurse awkwardly collides with something in the dark. As she reaches out to touch it, she's startled by what she finds. It turns out to be the main character, who reveals it was his arm, flexing slightly to show off his growing muscles. His sister observes that the training is indeed time-consuming, but he's already showing promising progress. The man suggests learning something new. The Fist of Immortality, a unique technique of the Zhua family, has the potential to extend one's lifespan. He understands that the path to full immortality won't be easy, but he's determined to see it through to the end. Xiaomu reassures his sister by informing her that Zheng the Butcher is already dead. His words leave her surprised, but there's more. He adds that, in addition to eliminating the butcher, he also managed to retrieve a letter containing crucial information. The letter, discovered by the man, turns out to be an encrypted message from the Wuji Association. Recognizing its significance, the sister acknowledges that Xiaomu has truly dealt with their enemy. Half an hour later, Mu's introduction to the Immortality Fist technique is already being processed through the interface. The sister asks Xiaomu to read the letter aloud. He can't help but question her blindness. After all, she somehow managed to locate the book. The letter states that Emperor Dian is preparing to leave the capital. The Wuji Association is gathering its members in preparation for something significant. She eagerly presses her brother, trying to extract more details about the planned assassination. He admits that the cipher is too intricate to fully decipher. The specifics regarding the time and location remain elusive. Xiaomu reflects on the fact that his opponent is ranked second in the martial arts world. This realization adds a layer of tension to his plans. Wu Xinjin founded a martial arts club and obliterated numerous martial arts families and clans. The Fist of Immortality is a unique skill of the Zhua family, passed down through generations. His sister reminds him that she didn't train him for the purpose of killing. The man desires his achievements to be beyond the reach of his enemies. However, his sister firmly declares that she will be the one to kill Wu Xinjin herself. Xiao Mu contemplates joining the association. His sister reacts sharply, unable to comprehend why he would even consider such a thing. Xiao Mu plans to infiltrate the association to assassinate the emperor and incite a conflict between the imperial court and the organization. The man dreams of the glory that would follow the emperor's death. His name could be immortalized in history books, and his rating could rise significantly. The association promises access to hundreds of techniques, including the Fist of Immortality. To Xiao Mu, this sounds like the ultimate dream. Killing Wu Xinjin seems nearly impossible, but the man is determined to make his life as difficult as possible. The sister wonders, what if Xiao Mu is killed? Her voice sounds anxious, but the man remains confident. Xiao Mu ponders the intentions of the enemy. Sister suggests that he might be craving for more than just the Fist of Immortality. The sister jokes that the brother probably wants his body. The sister laughs, but there is a slight awkwardness in her words. The sister confesses that she feels indebted. She offers to help, but Xiao Mu only smiles, not expecting such a turn. Xiao Mu remembers that there is one thing his sister could do for him. His tone sounds wistful, but with a hint of hope. The sister decides not to worry about the man. If he is not afraid of anything, she should not worry either. A man asks if there are any representatives of the association around. He is very interested in this. His sister reluctantly answers him that there is one. Guiyin, the ruler of Yinxing, is the only representative of the association in their county. The crowd panics as someone steps in front of them. The people let some gentlemen who had come to the city pass. A man hears shouts of an approaching visitor. His attention is drawn to the road where the intruder is about to appear. The Lord notices a couple of people and tells his servants to alert them to approach him. But he is met with insults. They reply that they will not go near him, even under pain of death. Bald jocks surround and remind them of the order to approach. They leave the men no chance to resist. The woman realizes that the only one they want to take away is her companion. She says she won't just let him go, she will help him. The woman decides to teach her abusers a lesson. She grits her teeth and takes up her weapon. But the master interrupts with a speech saying that he is the one who will teach them a lesson. He orders his bald servants to attack them. The bald men clutch the poor people with their bodies. They shut their noses and mouths in this way. But suddenly our main character bursts in and jumps the bastard right on his head. All the people around him are in shock. The crowd murmurs around the unconscious man. The Lord shouts that he is a Yangshan settler, but the guy only shrugs his shoulders, maintaining cold indifference. The young man threatens that his father will arrive soon. Xiao Mu smirks as if hearing this phrase for the 100th time. The original plan was simple: kill the Lord's son and die at the hands of the townspeople. But now an idea is brewing in his head. What if dying at the hands of the ruler himself would bring more glory? The system rates courage. The death rating rises, and excitement flashes in the man's eyes. Someone thanks him for his help, but Xiao Mu has already turned away. He is only interested in how to increase his ranking. Xiao Mu holds the Lord by the throat tighter, and with his other hand, he slaps him with all his might. The crowd panics as the young man threatens to kill him. The man watches with cold curiosity, not intervening in the conflict. Xiao Mu says that Mr. should call his dad immediately if he wants to stay alive. The opponent brags about his father, but Xiao Mu only chuckles. His calmness irritates the aggressor, making him nervous. Guoyin demonstrates his martial arts skills. His mere phrase makes even the most experienced fighters tremble. The man notices that the young man has not yet reached his potential. Despite this, he is already trying to dominate the people around him. The pressure from the opponent's strength is building up. Xiao Mu feels heavy, but his eyes are burning with excitement. He is ready for the challenge. The man begged for her son's release, promising to correct his behavior. His face is contorted with fear, but his adversary only grins, not understanding why he hasn't been killed yet. Our hero notices that the grade hasn't changed at all. He needs to do something urgently. Two of the Manhwa clan offer gifts in exchange for forgiveness. Their ties to Yua's family make negotiations difficult, but the man sees the falsity in their words. One of the clan suddenly shows politeness. Xiao Mu catches the irony in his tone. The situation is absurd, but the danger is still real. The man rejects the attempt to pay him off with money. His voice sounds cold. Do you often clean up after your son? Money won't erase his mistakes. The guards block the way, and the coins offered only inflame the conflict. Xiao Mu's fists clench. The negotiations are over. Only the fight remains. The man repeats his pleas for his son, but his words are lost in the roar of the crowd. He proposes a simple, quick, and peaceful solution. But the guy already knows how it will end. Too easy for this kind of game. Xiao Mu only wants a fight, no mercy. He says the man should just kill him. Mu's crazed look allows for no other outcome. Xiao Mu holds the young master by the neck and waits for at least something to start happening. People are shocked. How a simple passerby decided to stand up for them. How he decided to confront a man of such status. The negotiation comes to a standstill. Xiao Mu notices his opponent slowly placing his hand on the hilt of his sword, preparing to fight. Some gray-haired old man walks around our protagonist and quickly pawed his arm from behind so that Mu couldn't move. But it's only to his advantage. He gets the highest death rating of his life. Mu rejoices. The gentleman asks our protagonist, what is his name and who is he anyway, to dare to attack his son? The guy gives his name, but adds that he has no patrons. His tone sounds defiant, as if he is challenging the whole system. Someone shouts, demanding that they act faster. The Lord ignores the pressure, continuing to assess the situation with icy calm. He stops thinking about killing Xiao Mu, noting that he is a very brave man, which is what he liked about him. Things don't go according to the script. Xiao realizes that they're not going to kill him, and that disappoints him greatly. The son runs up to his father, but only receives a hard slap that sits him on the ground. He sharply demands silence, accusing his son of arrogance. He shames him in front of everyone and asks him to clean up. The master leaves, reminding him one last time that if Xiao Mu wants to join the army or anything else, he can come to his mansion. The boy in the crowd ponders that our hero could be a real protector. This thought seems ironic given the current situation. Xiao Mu wonders why everything is back to normal and he is still alive. His bewilderment is mixed with annoyance. The system is still active and the death rate hasn't changed. There is a suspicion that the ruler of the city has no influence on its estimates. A sharp sound interrupts the boy's train of thought. Perhaps it's a signal or a reaction of the crowd to what's happening. Death now would allow him to be remembered as a young, righteous man, not a nameless fighter. A plan to activate the immortality system flashes through his mind. As long as Xiao Mu maintains the image of a noble warrior, his reputation grows. This gives him an advantage, but also attracts new enemies. He imagines himself in a casino and remarks that dying now with that status would be the biggest jackpot for him. On the screen, the characters marked SSS are flashing. Xiao Mu is already anticipating the ranking of his new death. The Lord's son is writhing in pain, accusing his father of inaction. His words mingle with a wheeze, and his eyes are full of resentment. The gentleman replies that at the time the lad was apprehended, there was visible displeasure with the government on the part of everyone around him. The ruler ponders, killing Xiao Lu in front of the people would ruin his image. Instead, he decides to use the boy to consolidate his power. The son is strictly forbidden to leave the house. The father explains this by the need to prevent future disasters. The young man is locked up for a month, unable to do harm. During this time, a saint, a key figure in the ruler's plans, is due to arrive in Yangshan. Rumors of the emperor's arrival are dubious. The Lord suspects the city will be filled with mercenaries, ready for a bloody denouement. Someone suggests sending the guy to East Mountain, where the fighting is going on. It's a chance to get rid of him, save face. In an unexpected twist, Xiao Mu, who beat up the town leader's son, receives an invitation to Aramo. It's a hint of a dangerous game where the stakes are higher than they seem. A man chooses a mansion with a grim reputation, thief's body victory. The walls of the building are mottled with ancient symbols, as if warning of the secrets inside. The sister offers to help. In her hand, she holds a scroll with a technique that would make even an experienced fighter tremble. The secrets of the Qiao family are revealed through a scroll containing techniques forgotten for centuries. Each character seems to breathe power, tantalizing and dangerous. Another find is a dagger with a blade the color of night. Its hilt is decorated with a snake whose eyes glow in the dark as if alive. The sister in the shadows whispers that Xiao Mu is special. He feels the system analyzing his mind, matching techniques to his unique style. His sister reminds him that skills are not for endless battles. Her voice is soft, but there's an unease in it, like a premonition of a future he hasn't yet realized. The desire to stay alive sounds almost like an incantation. The unspoken is in the air, even if you have to burn everything around you to do it. The action moves to the garrison barracks in Yinqing's throat. The protagonist is practicing with a spear. The spearmen of antiquity were considered convenient pawns. They were easily directed to any task without thinking about the consequences. Qiao Mu is rated as a mediocre fighter. Rumors of his audacity, capturing the ruler's son, cause a mixture of ridicule and bewilderment. Only a rank 9 strength could justify such ambition. Some suggest waiting for the man to give up. But Xiao Mu is used to breaking other people's predictions. Skills mastered, just have to wait for death to activate the system. Impatience grows, but time is working for him. Old Man 1 teases his interlocutor with his yellow teeth. Jokes mingle with tension, but the man remains unfazed. The offer to work sounds ambiguous. Xiao Mu agrees, though physical labor is a new challenge for him. Working with iron reveals unexpected sides of skill. Each blow of the hammer is like practicing martial arts. The study of iron becomes a new stage of the journey. The man sees it as a chance to strengthen his body and get closer to immortality. Money loses its value. What matters is the work itself, its rhythm, and the meaning hidden in it. 4 months ago, Mr. Gui stabbed his pregnant wife with a man. The baby could not be saved, and the woman has not yet recovered. Now Qiao Mu is faced with a request for revenge that is intertwined with his own goals. The man keeps his cool despite the attempts at manipulation. He is reminded that the techniques will not be given for nothing, but he is used to such deals. To the east of the city, Sung He is the leader of a gang terrorizing the area. His name sounds like a curse, and his influence extends farther than it seems. The attempt to portray Sun He as a noble leader is laughable. His methods are more reminiscent of a cruel child's play than a ruler's strategy. The gang is in the business of stealing government property, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Behind every stolen bag of rice lies a web of corruption. The women disappear one by one. Those who manage to escape are haunted by nightmares. The rest suffer a fate worse than death, to be forgotten at the bottom of society. Xiao Mu decides that the bandits must not just be stopped, but eradicated. His plan is tough, but there is no other way out in this city. An army of 1,000 men is an ambitious plan. In 5 days a man will leave the city, leaving the ashes of his old life behind him. They shake hands with the commander, and our hero swears his loyalty and obedience to his commander. He walks out of the commander's tent and thinks about his main objective and moves on. In the army, out of 1,000 men, only a few have strength comparable to our guy. His choice to be a trailblazer raises questions, whether because of bravery or hidden calculations. The city's ruler's plan begins to become clear. Every move the Lord makes turns out to be part of a complex strategy where Qiao is just a pawn. The moment Xiao Mu had been waiting for a long time had arrived. His eyes lit up with excitement. He would finally be able to die after testing the limits of his system. The allies whisper behind his back, questioning the guy's sanity. His willingness to take risks seems either insane or a brilliant calculation. The action continues 5 days later on a mountain in the eastern lands. A man explores the unfamiliar terrain. His companion suggests shifting to the west, where the valley hides more secrets than the desert hills. An associate insists on walking behind him, but Xiao Mu ignores the warning. His confidence borders on recklessness, but that's what makes him dangerous. Xiao Mu adds that this is an order, and in his thoughts, he reasons that it is very difficult to die after all. The old man brags about his daughter's strength, able to lift weights at 15. His question about the boy's past hangs in the air, leaving room for speculation. In response to his curiosity, Xiao Mu recalls his youth. His face remains stony, but the shadow of someone who once spared neither his enemies nor himself flickers in his eyes. The tension builds, and he sees something strange behind his companion, something bearing down on them. He pushes the old man away, and himself in turn looks at the sheer number of arrows and spears that are flying straight at them. He runs straight at them in joy, anticipating his victory and how they will kill him by digging into his skin. The old man looks at him in confusion, and our hero is disappointed in the way things happened. Bandits come out of nowhere, and they're coming at them from all directions. Death is closer than ever. The man notices that the more fierce the fight, the higher the chance of maximizing his mortality rating. Today, nothing will interfere with his plan. He's running at them faster and faster. When will he die and get his grade? When? At this time, people from the whole squad fight with bandits not for life, but for death. It is not clear who will win, but ours are very much afraid of the battle. The old man almost craps his pants, but suddenly the bandit is pierced through by our protagonist's spear. Xiao Mu runs over heads and backs, running further and further, increasing the epicness of the battle, increasing the rating of his death. All the other soldiers are shocked by his behavior. They think he's a complete lunatic. Blood oozes from the wound, but the pain recedes into the background. Xiao Mu frustratedly ignores the injury as his enemies flee. The leader of the gang with 3 arrows in his body can barely stay on his feet. An ally is horrified, but the man sees this as the perfect moment for a heroic finale. Cities merge in a series of disappointments. Enemies flee, leaving the man only a shadow of former ambitions. He is already plotting a new plan. The man with the beard mentions some techniques, which interests our protagonist a lot. The bald man mentions what interesting things he has with him in the city. The man reflects on the rarity of being able to block arrows. The old man, Juan, who is able to do it, gives him a mixture of respect and envy. Luck is clearly on the old warrior's side. The valley ahead hides either a bandit camp or a death trap. The risk grows with every step, but Xiao Mu continues on his way. The question about the name of the place remains unanswered, adding to the mystique of what is going on. Old One does not know what it is called either. The Faceless Valley gets the name Lamu Valley. Xiao Mu scratches this name on the bark of some tree, pondering his good imagination. The commander appears and asks Mu why the whole army is delayed. He also reminds him of his role as a pioneer. The ally vows to come to his aid, but the threat of disobedience hangs in the air. The commander ignores the pressure, his fingers involuntarily clutching the hilt of his sword. Xiao Mu obediently nods and is ready to move on, leading all the other warriors. The army is shocked at his determination. Death by bandits seems preferable to execution for rebellion. A plan is brewing in his head to survive here so that he can later challenge the general himself. But suddenly Mu falls silent, sensing something wrong, something already preparing to kill him. It's those bandits again. They ambush us from above, intending to kill everyone here. Panic grips the group, but the sight of the leader risking his life changes everything. Fear is replaced by determination. Even the weak are willing to fight for the common cause. Mu fights back the first attacker with his spear, but the first is followed by a second and a third bandit. He turns to his own and yells at them to get the hell out of here. He'll figure out himself. However, someone from above gives a different instruction: do not retreat anywhere. Everyone must rush to the attack to confront the bandits. The general gives the order on which the fate of the army depends. His voice sounds metallic, leaving no room for objection. The man ponders. If the army enters the battle, his chances of getting killed will be drastically reduced. The irony of the situation brings a chuckle. Someone's sharp cry causes the crowd to disperse. Xiao Mu saw the fear on the soldiers' faces change to relief. The boy reminds of the old man's family. His words sound not like a threat, but an attempt to reach out. But the escape route is already cut off. An unintelligible exclamation interrupts the dialogue. Guy ignores it, focusing on his plan to die in battle. Xiao Mu runs into battle, trying to die as quickly and heroically as possible. The old man asks him not to, but he doesn't know the whole story. A challenge sounds out. Xiao Mu turns to the speaker and assesses his boldness with a cold gaze. Finally, the arrow reaches the main character's chest, and his plan is even exceeded. He is overjoyed. A mob of bandits surrounds him, flying at him with all the readiness to kill the protagonist the second he's there. At the last moment, we see the smiling face of our Xiao Mu, ready for his death and its reward. We see a lot of bandits standing in confusion, taking new hits and suffering new losses in their army. In the middle of the crowd stands our protagonist, preparing to confront further, gaining rankings and points. He waves a finger at them, telling them that it's about time they attacked him for real. It's about time they got their act together. The guy tears and swords on his way. He kills one by one, preparing for the most important moment of the battle. He feels an unprecedented surge of strength that pushes him to action, to fight even harder. The guy fights harder and harder, with ninjas attacking him from all sides, preparing to kill him. He is ready to make a breakthrough in the system and get the maximum death rank. For this, he is willing to fight on and on. His eyes burn red, and he seems unstoppable, so strong in martial arts. The commander is shocked. How such a young warrior has such great inner strength? He begins to suspect that this young man is hiding something. The guy's abilities are baffling. How could he have such power? Even his opponents slow their steps, sensing an invisible threat. Suspicions of a hidden skill are growing. Could it be a gift of ancestral blood, or the result of a bargain with something ancient and forbidden? The commander is lost in speculation. He no longer knows what to think of this talented young fighter. He laughs after learning that the guy used the Heaven Demon technique. It's a crude technique, but it's the one that will be the beginning of the end for the opponent. The old man who was saved by Xiao Mu cries as he realizes that his savior is about to die. The battle continues, and the guy tells no one to cross the line, or he'll kill them all. A line drawn on the ground becomes a symbol of prohibition. No one dares cross it, neither enemies nor allies. A cry for attention breaks the silence. Everyone freezes, preparing for the attack. Even the wind seems to stop blowing, waiting for the outcome. They attack him at once, but they don't know how it ends yet. The end is near. Xiao Mu blurts out a sinister, bloody smile. Everything is going according to his complicated and cruel plan. He bursts through the crowd, cutting his way through these thugs, his eyes burning. The allies are watching this triumph with bated breath. It seems that our protagonist is about to die. The last arrows crash into the back of our protagonist. Apparently the battle is coming to an end. He stands on a mountain of those defeated bandits, his allies weeping and marveling at the protagonist's fighting spirit. Laughter echoes in the air, but tension can be heard in it. The allies prepare to attack, their movements as sharp as dagger strokes. The commander sends the rest of the army forward to avenge the remaining bandits in the name of the great pioneer Qiao. The order sounds like a final verdict, but in the commander's voice you can feel fatigue and bitterness instead of confidence. Bewilderment grows in the ranks. The question of return hangs in the air like a mute accusation. The bandits' lair has not been found, and the strength to continue the mission is gone. Disappointment is intertwined with anger. The order is repeated, but now it is perceived as a judgment. Returning feels like a defeat, not a strategic decision. There is a quiet whisper in the crowd, questioning the whole campaign. The head's death becomes a symbol of a sacrifice in vain. And while everyone is bagging the bodies, our reborn hero is watching from the top of the mountain. The system displays strange parameters, skill levels, errors, encounters with enemies. Each line is like a cipher, the unraveling of which will bring you closer to new opportunities. Progress is evident. Skills are increasing and scores are improving. Even the system, usually unemotional, seems pleased with the results. The highest rank requires decades of training and 150% efficiency. The numbers are daunting, but excitement flashes in the man's eyes. He can already see the finish line. My thoughts revolve around grade A. What about taking a risk and challenging the toughest test? Or find a loophole in the rules of the system? The graphs and charts confirm. High mortality has been beneficial. Each death made the body tougher and the mind sharper. My brother's gratitude is cut short by a sudden chill. Perhaps it is a premonition or a reminder of the price to be paid for success. A mysterious name is carved into the bark of an old tree, Lamu Valley. The letters look fresh, as if they were left yesterday, but the man knows this place is older than it looks. The old man explains to the commander that it was written by their head, who has just fallen in battle. The chief had foreseen the ambush, giving the valley its name. His decision now seems prophetic, as if he knew in advance how it would end. The old man cries, realizing that the old man died for them. This heroic act will long be remembered in the memory of their people. "What are you doing up there?" echoes through the gorge. There was no answer, only the wind rustling the leaves as if hiding secrets. The commander approaches them, not understanding. What is it that his army is doing? What are they carrying? The boy bows at his feet and says that they are carrying a sack containing the body of Chiao Mu, their hero. The warrior is shocked, realizing that they won't even give them the hero's body. They will take everything. He's very angry with the commander-in-chief. The orders are clear. The body must be brought to the city for the rites. Even in death, there are rules here, and breaking them is a costly endeavor. Accusation hangs in the air, but the commander only shrugs. Every victory over the bandits is a step toward new opportunities, not a cause for regret. The mission is complete. All that remains is to perform the final ritual to hand over what's left of the enemy. The system silently approves. The question about the sister hangs unanswered. Perhaps it's part of a plan he doesn't yet realize, or just a game of chance. The commander licks himself, indulging in his fantasies. That's really gross. But suddenly a spear pierces his neck. The commander was a bastard at last. We see the figure who, from the cliff, threw that spear that killed the nasty commander. The commander's body falls to the ground, leaving a red liquid trail around him. So he should. They move, making strange noises. Someone invisible is watching, but the commander keeps pulling his arm. Suddenly, Chiao Mu himself sits over his body, watching the commander agonize before his end. A sharp click breaks the silence. Captain Chu is dead, and the people around him are in shock. The attack begins suddenly. The opponents leap out of their hiding places, their weapons gleaming in the moonlight. Someone shouts, ordering a perimeter search. The old man notices a shadow, but it dissolves before he can react. The old man and the bald man discuss what they saw while looking at Xiao Mu's body. Something is obviously wrong. The bandits return, their silhouettes looming in the distance. The group instantly reorganizes, preparing for defense. A mixture of fear and determination is in the air. They walk away from the enemies, leaving the captain's body right next to the tree. So be it for him. Captain Chu, an 8th-ranked warrior, lay on the ground. His armor cracked from a blow that even he couldn't contain. The technique worked perfectly. The spear pierced the enemy like a hot knife through butter. But the price was high. The master's bloody hand trembled with pain. It's as if his body was made for this destructive technique. Every movement is natural, as if he was born to obliterate his enemies. The soldiers are already searching for the man responsible for the captain's death. Their footsteps echo through the ravine, their hands clutching scrolls with the names of the suspects. Someone screams in rage, unable to believe that the enemy is still alive. The master's eyes narrowed as he saw the weaknesses in their ranks. Old Wan's voice comes from the crowd. Once saved, he now accuses, his words cutting like a knife. The boy grits his teeth, but doesn't make excuses. The soldiers believe that the captain was killed by bandits. The guy uses this mistake to stay in the shadows, but realizes the illusion will not last long. The bandits burst in at just the right moment. Their chaotic attack distracts everyone, giving the master a chance to escape. Accusations of betrayal are shattered by his silence. His back straight, his gaze cold, not a step back, even under pressure. The wounded arm hangs like a useless weight. But in the master's eyes, not fear, but defiance. Try if you can. The bandit can't believe his eyes. All the arrows hit the target, but the guy stands as if unharmed. Mystery or luck? The boy calls himself Xiao Mu's brother. He runs beside the bandits, joking with them. The soldiers laugh at the statement. Big brother? Someone snarks. The boy silently analyzes, looking for weaknesses in their ranks. Doubts about his brother's age only heighten the distrust. The boy hides a chuckle. In their world, years have long since lost their meaning. Fear of the ghost makes the soldiers retreat. The boy takes a step forward, and the crowd parted like a hurricane. The bandit leader appears in the smoke, his figure distorted by shadows. His eyes glow red, and the bandits stand around him. The bandits heel forward, whispering about the ghost. They ask the head to help them with their problem and fears. Someone's scream breaks the silence. Fear grips the ranks. The boy remains unperturbed, already anticipating the events. Death by a simple soldier brought a grade of B. Now the master's gaze is turned to the ringleader. A kill from such an enemy promises a cherished day. The boy declares revenge for his brother. His words are loud and his eyes are determined. A surprised voice says the name of the bandit leader. The boy is ready to fight, his fingers clutching the hilt of his sword. The ringleader's laughter echoes through the forest. His voice cut through his ears, and cold excitement flashed in his eyes. Everything is centered on Sun He, a name that is now on the target list. The ringleader turns out to be a rather nice-looking guy. He folds his arms and presents himself to the protagonist. The leader of the bandits turns out to be a frail young man. His claim of kinship with Xiao Bai is doubtful, but the boy maintains a mask of indifference. Someone's yelling about killing the captain. The panic in his voice is mixed with rage, but the guy only notes the weakness in their ranks. Sun He's laughter sounds unnatural. His fingers shake, revealing his nervousness, but his posture remains proud. The offer to join the bandits hangs in the air. The boy assesses the situation. Is an alliance with them a step towards new opportunities or a trap? The order to follow the head sounds like a test. Every step deep into the bandit camp is a test of vigilance. The question of avenging his brother remains unanswered. The guy silently looks at Xiao Lin, looking for signs of lying or fear. Sun He talks about the pointlessness of revenge, because if Mu kills him, the guy will be killed in return. Someone wonders how a noble man became a bandit. The boy avoids answering, but a shadow of past decisions flickers in his eyes. The bandits try to manipulate, but Xiao Mu interrupts them. His posture speaks for itself. He is ready to die, but not to deal. The call to kill him sounds like a challenge. The bandits hesitate, but the boy already sees their weaknesses, fear of his determination. Brother Xiao doubts their path. His words hang in the air, but the guy only clenched his fists, rejecting the regret. Hunger in the city was the reason for their flight. The memories of empty streets and despair still sting like an open wound. Accepting the harshness of life sounds bitter. The boy nods, but there's a readiness in his gaze to break these circumstances. The leader of the bandits declares his desire to help his own. His words sound loud, but the boy sees the fear of losing power behind them. Brother Xiao repeats the offer to join the bandits. His voice sounds insistent, but the boy can already sense the catch behind the words. The refusal sounds harsh and unambiguous. Xiao Mu turns away, making it clear that the bandits are not his allies, but only an obstacle in the way. The bandits offer to show their lives, hoping to elicit pity. The boy looks at their camp, assessing every detail as a potential trap. The thought of entering the lair makes him chuckle. He knows it would be a miracle to get out of there alive, but that's what makes the idea tempting. A quarter of an hour later, the picture is reminiscent of a refugee village. The dilapidated tents, the hungry stares. There is no hint of strength or power here. The question of children and old people remains unanswered. The boy notices the families crowded together and realizes that they are not bandits, but exiles. The truth about Yanacheng is revealed. The city's prosperity is a mirage. The ruler cares only for the immortals and has thrown the rest outside the walls. The conversation about immortals makes the master think. His fist clenched involuntarily as the Qiao family's technique now seemed like a clue. Xiao Mu grinned as if the immortal fist technique had revealed all the secrets of the world to him. His laugh, rough and confident, echoed among the rocks. The boy reflects on the rarity of this art. Only a few are able to grasp its depth, and he feels chosen. Sun He insists on changing the venue of the conversation. His tone sounds like a warning, but the guy evaluates every word for hidden threats. At the Taoist temple in the village, he points him to a statue of the immortal. He looks like an old man with a beard and long hair. The statue turns out to be a Taoist teacher dwelling among the immortals. His stone gaze seems to penetrate the master, reminding him of the inaccessibility of their world. Doubts gnaw at me. The gap between martial arts and immortality is too wide. Will it be possible to overcome it, or is it all in vain? The inscription reads, "Immortals don't sleep. Mortals don't last forever." The boy wonders where the line is between their worlds and his own destiny. Immortals use mortals as servants, forcing them to grow spiritual roots. Humiliation is mixed with anger, but resistance seems pointless. Disobedience to immortals leads to death. Worst of all, mortals don't even realize that they are just a resource in someone else's game. Capitalist methods are abhorrent. High profits require even greater risks, including threats of immortality. A game where the stakes are higher than reasonable. Guy ponders whether the system could be a weapon against the immortals. His fingers clench involuntarily, as if he already holds the key to their defeat. Mu jumps, trying to hit the statue. In flight, he shouts, addressing his brother Qiao. The pursuit of freedom becomes the master's main credo. Every step, every blow is a challenge to the world where even immortals dictate the rules. The plan is clear: destroy the statue, then wait for the lightning that can crush the enemies. It's risky, but he sees no other way to win. Son, he sharply calls out to the guy. His movements are abrupt, his eyes burning with rage. Xiao Mu continues on his way as if he didn't notice the threat. The head of the bandits manages to throw his sword, and at the last moment, he gets between Mu's fist and the statue. The statue is intact, but the sword ricochets, spins through the air, and stabs with all its might into the very head of the stone sculpture. The statue immediately begins to crumble, satisfying Xiao Mu's plans and frustrating Sun, he who tried to save it. A bandit nearly foils the plan. The guy remembers his own words about the harm of immortals. The question, "Why did you stop him?" hangs in the air, but there is no answer, just a cold stare. Brother Zhua explains the difference between magic and cultivation. His gestures are confident, but there is doubt in his voice. Destroying immortals might bring more problems than solutions. The question about the uselessness of martial arts makes the master think. His fingers clench involuntarily. Perhaps he is searching for the answer himself. Martial arts train the body. Cultivation trains the soul. A fellow sage can fight immortals physically, but spiritual combat remains beyond his capabilities. The power of immortals lies not only in techniques, but in centuries of experience. Even inaction does not prevent them from destroying mortals. Progress in cultivation is measured in decades, and breakthroughs are measured in centuries. Patience becomes the main weapon along the way. Martial arts give quick results. Combining them with longevity may be the key to facing immortals. The Fist of Immortality is not a weapon, but a relic of the clan. The resurrection system is mentioned as an advantage, but the certainty hides anxiety. Tens of thousands of years are required to attain immortality. From the outside, Xiao Mu's behavior looks strange, almost insane, causing the observing young man to be puzzled. The search for a new cultivation method becomes an obsession. Ambition requires unconventional solutions to achieve the impossible. Xiao asks, "Can his rod be counted as a spiritual rod 7? What is a wand?" The rod is demonstrated, and Sun He clearly doesn't like it very much. nor is it much suited to the role of the spiritual rod. Brother Qiao is asked to leave the territory. Despite recognizing his noble goals, his opponent refuses to help, maintaining a cold detachment. Xiaolin's insistence is annoying. His presence threatens to reveal the secret hideout, forcing him to proceed with caution. Brother Qiao has no credibility. Plans to leave the land remain in place, despite lurking threats and doubts. Returning to Yinxing seems like the only sensible choice. The risk of being caught makes him refuse to make a rash escape. Muffled thuds echo through the room. It sounded like someone trying to break through a barrier, mixed with desperation. The servant respectfully mentions, "The son of the ruler of the city is knocking on Sister Qiao's door." Xiao Mu's heroic deed deserves public thanks, but there is a hidden calculation behind the praise. The fate of the blind beauty causes pity. The absence of offspring and the disappearance of a loved one leave a bitter residue in the hearts of others. The Lord's son, with madness in his eyes and a sinister aura, informs the girl that her brother, Xiao Mu, is no more. The words of impending doom sound like a curse. Disbelief in what is happening is mixed with horror at the imminent denouement. He says his plan is smarter. Xiao Mu's body is here. The son enters and grabs the woman's arm very roughly. The decision to deliver the body for identification is vehemently protested. He picks her up and throws her face into the coffin. She comes face to face with her brother. Rashly, she's blind and won't see anything. His body was covered with dozens of knife and arrow wounds. His face was pale, and his skin was thinning from the many injuries, as if the life was leaving him with every passing second. Doubt is replaced by timid hope. Perhaps the situation is not as hopeless as it seems at first glance. The accusations of lies grow louder and louder. The son is mocked. Even the coffin is called a fake, and the speaker vehemently denies the truth of what is happening. The question of the simplicity of the solution hangs in the air. There is no answer, only silence, interrupted by heavy breathing. Fury overwhelms the bearded man. He vows to destroy the man who robbed him of his hero, clenching his fists until his knuckles are white. The guy stands with the bearded man and watches this, realizing their powerlessness. They want to give money and help the girl arrange the funeral. The sound of footsteps merges with the gurgling of soup. A steaming bowl is brought into the room, but the atmosphere remains tense. In Yinxian, Xiao Li's courage is admired. Some suggest feeling his strength through his flesh and soup, but such a ritual is repulsive. They flank her from the side, preparing to feed her soup made from the flesh of her own brother. They have surrounded and are already bringing the soup to her. The son's servants are just like him, cruel freaks. The servant brings the soup to her lips, and almost she tastes the slurry. A very cruel torture. But suddenly, one of Qiao Mu's admirers snatches up this soup and starts eating it, talking about the wonderful flavor of the viand. The old man admires the exquisite dish. His delight contrasts with the general unsettling atmosphere around him. The master throws him to the ground, angered by his interlocutor's insolence. His voice is threatening, but there is uncertainty behind it. Xiao Bai's aides try to calm old Huang down. The old man, exhausted by hunger, evokes mixed feelings of pity and irritation. Impatience is growing. The question about the unfinished meal sounds like a reproach, and the aroma of the food only intensifies the inner conflict. The gentleman's son doesn't understand. Who is it? And how dare the man in the hat interrupt him? The guy raises his hat, and we see that it is Qiao Mu. He scoffs, asking to give him some soup too. Shock and disbelief are reflected on the character's face. Events unfold so unexpectedly that reality seems like an illusion. The son looks at Xiao's body and at the living Mu. He is shocked. He doesn't understand how this is possible in their world. He looks down at his son's bastard of a son, and there's rage in his eyes. The son, in turn, the cowardly bastard, backs away. He punches him in the face, tearing his hat in two. Son's pants must be really wet now. His deadly attack is again interrupted by the old prick. Once again, he saves the young bastard. Everyone is shocked, and Qiao's defenders doubt the head at all. He has somehow changed, become stronger. Xiao Mu's death is perplexing. The force of the blow and its sharpness do not match the image everyone is used to seeing. Questions remain unanswered. Xiao Mu introduces himself as a younger brother. His words sound restrained, but the simplicity of his phrases hides a deep affection for his family. The character vows to avenge his brother's death. Even the circulation of energy does not calm his rage. Revenge becomes the only goal. He's facing his son's uncle, and now that the whole situation is in his hands, he wants to tell them something. The son decides to retreat, planning to strike a decisive blow next time. Their determination is reinforced by contemptuous laughter, as if the enemy is already doomed. Xiao Mu is actually waiting for Mr. Guo's punch at last, so that he could die faster and get his ranking. Xiao Lin intends to bury his brother's body with honors. The plan to meet the enemy outside the city looks risky, but the man is sure of his rightness. He reaches out to drink his brother's soup without knowing it. Everyone around him tries to warn him. They can't make it work. But Xiao shows them that it is a lie, pork liver and heart soup. Xiao Lin and Xiao Lu are almost indistinguishable in appearance, but the age difference is noticeable. Their height differs by an inch, which adds to the mystery of their characters. Liao Mu's death raises suspicions. The emperor, busy with important matters, pays no attention to minor coincidences, but someone is clearly hiding the truth. The girl approaches and starts sniffing the protagonist. It seems very strange to him. Damek notes that he is turning 28 years old, but it is still early. His kin are proficient in 18 weapons and many techniques, which commands respect. The brother's death was only a day ago, but the government is already reacting. The question about payments is questionable, and the answer sounds unconvincing. The character refuses to accept money from the alleged government, finding its actions appalling. The financial flows are clearly linked to corruption, which is disgusting. There is no choice. Everyone gets paid without exception. Previously, it was promised to give Xiao Mu a skill book to help him fight between dynasties, but now it seems doubtful. Someone in a rage demands an immediate halt to the action. Emotions are running high, but specific details remain unclear. Lady Shui hears her brother mention her often. The man warns her that tomorrow he will fight the son of the head of Unixna, advising her to leave the land before the conflict begins. Chapter credits and sound effects emphasize the tension of the moment. Scene details are left for visualization. The character interrupts the dialogue, accusing his opponent of pretending. His words sound like a threat, but there is uncertainty behind them. Years of training have yielded results, but continued conflict will make restraint difficult. The opponent uses strange expressions in an attempt to confuse, but in vain. Blind Sister Shui notices that the scent and intonation give Xiao Lu away. Her sensitivity surprises her, and she wonders if her interlocutor is a seer. The character admits that he was seriously wounded during the battle, causing the allies to think he was dead. Now he reveals how he managed to deceive the people around him. The character recalls how he deceived the head of the bandits, Suinka. His story of his encounter with the immortal reveals cunning and ulterior motives that no one realized he had. The girl once possessed spiritual roots, but the Chiu clan, a clan known for martial arts, rejected cooperation with cultivators. Her path diverged from tradition, leaving her doubts about her choice. The thoughts of becoming a cultivator are increasingly visiting the hero. It may be the only way to gain the power to change the course of events. The night of extermination approaches, threatening all plans. Tensions are mounting, and preparations for defense seem inadequate. The sister asks Xiao Mu to give her a hand. He doesn't understand what this is all for. Mr. Guo is a 6th-ranked guy with 1,000 warriors at his command. However, a hero who has reached the 8th rank surpasses him, leaving no chance of defeat. The request to reach out and follow sound the challenge. The desire for revenge remains unrealized due to lack of strength, leaving the bitterness of powerlessness. The realization of his own helplessness pushes him to leave Unixna. The decision to embark on the path of immortality becomes an attempt to atone for a debt that cannot be repaid. The clan's secret techniques are mentioned as the final trump card. Sister So, connected to this knowledge, becomes the key to unlocking ancient secrets. He cries because his sister did him a very kind thing by putting her tech book in his hands. The boy asks if his sister has forgotten about his case. And did she finish that book? He reminds them that they both have paths to follow without stopping. Inaction will not change the situation. The hero realizes that only decisive action will help to influence the course of events. Waiting for the journey to continue becomes a symbol of hope. The character is confident that together they will be able to overcome any obstacle. He goes to bury his red little coffin somewhere in a beautiful clearing. But there's a reason for all this. He digs a grave hole for his box while some dark figure watches him from the cliff. This figure is again the old, gray-haired uncle servant of the son and master. He rubs his hands together, preparing to do something. He jumps down and approaches our protagonist, preparing to do something bad. But the dust from the box flies right into his eyes. It puts him in a stupor and surprises him very much. The character closes his eyes, feeling a sharp pain. The unknown technique of the enemy arouses both fear and curiosity, forcing him to rethink his battle strategy. The technique that once belonged to his brother is now in the hands of the hero. The warrior decides to use it in the fight, despite moral doubts. The ambition of victory outweighs past ties. Fury is directed at the older opponent. The character rushes into the attack, ignoring the risk. His movements are sharp, and his gaze is full of determination. The system recognizes a man's bravery, opening access to the 8th rank. Progress gives strength, but the blindness of the enemy becomes a new obstacle. The hero is ready to eliminate it at any cost. He impales the elder, but still prepares to die at his hands for a high reward. The elder is not bad and sends our hero off a high cliff straight down. The plan went through. Before he dies, our hero looks at the elder and throws 2 fingers up, expressing great gratitude to his murderer. The old man ponders the fact that the deaths of the 2 brothers were justified. They were determined to defile the lord of the city. He turns around and freezes in surprise. What he saw defies any explanation. Xiao Mu stands in front of him and asks him, is he so sure of the Qiao family's weakness? Xiao Mu approaches the old man, all covered in red aura and with red glowing eyes. His whole appearance is terrifying. He punches the grandfather, but since he has already learned the techniques of the Qiao clan, he calmly dodges Mu's first attack. The character's family is made up of suicidal people, which is surprising. Their unique abilities become the key to solving many mysteries. The elder mentions those who have fallen at his hands. His words sound like a threat, but behind them there is only foolish confidence. Xiao once again flies away from his grandfather's hands and feet into the abyss. This situation has been repeated for the last time. And everything in this world is cyclical. Xiao Mu reappears behind the old man's back, making the grandfather shudder and wonder about his sanity. The character promises to meet again with the coming of spring. A family member is mentioned in the context of upcoming trials, linking past and future. The old man wondered, who is he really? A demon, a monster, a cultivator, or just an elegant illusion? He wonders if maybe he's seeing things wrong after all. Maybe he's crazy and he's imagining things. The opponent scoffs, considering his attempts at deception too primitive. His confidence borders on contempt for his opponent's weaknesses. He doubts the humanity of the Cao family. Of course, with such a death drive and craziness, it's not surprising. The grandfather stabs our protagonist into the abyss again, hoping that this time Xiao will just die and not bother him anymore. The farewell sounds like a hint of future confrontations. The brevity of the phrase leaves room for anxious premonitions. The old man tries to catch his breath. He thinks it's a lie, that everything around him isn't real. But behind his back, a bloody Qiao Mu in a demonic body reappears. It seems like it will never end. The old man refuses to give in to provocation. His determination is reinforced by his willingness to act on his own. Xiao's death triggers prizes. In the past, the hero has received valuable rewards for similar victories, which emphasizes his experience. The last doom had a low rank, which disappoints the character. He decides that his opponent is useless and it's time to end the confrontation. The character decides not to waste any more time on procrastination. His actions become decisive, as if every second is now worth its weight in gold. Grandpa stabs our protagonist into the abyss again, hoping that this time he will definitely just die and not bother him anymore. The old man shouts that he won't give up so easily, no matter whether this Xiao Mu is a demon or a human. The words in the other world sound like an ominous warning. The boy jumps on his grandfather's back and pushes him into the abyss with him. He smiles wickedly because, unlike his grandfather, he has the ability to be reborn. The grandfather begs to be released, but his voice sounds weak. His plea is lost in the general chaos, leaving a feeling of hopelessness. In flight, he asks for his hands off, calls him a bastard, and grabs his arms and legs. The old man counts down monotonously. Each number sounds like an attempt to drown out panic, but the shadow of fear remains close by. The men fall to the ground, and the wolves around them rejoice, for food has fallen to them straight from heaven in their mouths. Everything happened as he intended. Unlike his grandfather, our protagonist gets up and stretches quietly, as after a nap. The growth of skills suddenly stops. The hero clutches his head in despair, not understanding the reasons. The monitor screen goes out, reflecting a confused expression. The silence intensifies the feeling of hopelessness. Equipment packed in a hurry, eyes full of determination. The next target is the mansion of the city's ruler. The hero disappears into the night, changing his appearance and preparing to experience everything in practice. After entering the mansion, the hero heads towards the Lord's chambers. Every step is accompanied by a disturbing premonition. The final meeting is approaching. The kitchen of Guam Manor is silent, broken only by the rustling of ingredients. The tables are laden with dishes, but the atmosphere is tense, as if every object holds a secret. Suddenly, Xiao Mu flew into the guy's back and pinned him to the floor. It's a pity he didn't leave him to eat his lunch. But then he gets into a cool stance, like he's a real badass ninja. The warrior sits at the table, gazing at a plate of exquisite food. His thoughts return to the endless cycles of death and rebirth, devoid of simple joys. The dog is at his feet, begging for a treat. His naive insistence reminds him that even in eternity, there is room for fleeting pleasures. To act now is to risk being caught. The hero freezes, listening to the footsteps outside the door, every sound seeming like a threat. His fingers involuntarily clench the hilt of his dagger. The thought of invisible guards turns the silence into a resounding echo of paranoia. The dog wags its tail, unaware of impending danger. Her playfulness contrasts sharply with the gloomy plans ripening in the shadows. The hero observes her, noting how the simple animal has become an unwitting symbol of the fragility of ordinary life. A son and his dog appear in front of the protagonist. They are both startled by the sight of Xiao Mu. The son starts screaming in fear and calling for his dog to tear our protagonist to shreds. But Xiao quickly finds common ground with the dog and begins to pet it, leaving the Lord's son confused. The interrogation is in full swing. The hero demands answers about the number of warriors, but each question only reinforces suspicions of lying. The interlocutor's father is a 6th-ranked guy, but the mention of the Blood Emperor makes even the staunchest one's voice tremble. The hero is furious. The enemy knows too much. The threat of assassination hangs in the air, but fear of death is mixed with a thirst to maintain the advantage. The plan to take his opponent to his father seems to be the only way out. Every word is now a game of life and death. The offer to lead to his father's office sounds like a trap. The hero is hesitant, but the prospect of obtaining a secret letter outweighs the risks. The taunt about Lord only spurs him on. He's willing to go to any lengths to prove he's underestimated. A death threat turns into a trade. The hero offers a trade, a life for a letter and a manual for a secret technique. His voice is shaky, but his eyes are calculating. Every second of delay is a chance to seize the initiative. A manual entitled The Path to Mastery of Legendary Martial Arts describes techniques that the hero's father honed over the years. Its value is unquestionable, but the credibility of the source is questionable. The hero commands behavior, threatening reprisals for attempts to deceive. Every step toward his father's office is filled with latent tension, as if the air were saturated with electricity. Guoyan's office looks impregnable, but it's strange that such an important manual isn't locked. It turns out that only a select few can enter here without repercussions. Death awaits the rest. Leafing through the pages, the hero notices the inconsistency. Instead of techniques and breathing, there are mystical practices and intuition development. The thinness of the book suggests that it is only a fragment of true knowledge. He asks where the rest of the book is. The offer to lead to the forbidden room sounds like a trap. The hero agrees, but is warned that any trickery will cost lives. His opponent nods, repeating of course with feigned resignation. His eyes, however, reveal a cold calculation. The game is just beginning. Xiao Lin follows his son, ready to kill at the slightest suspicion. The lack of eye contact gives him a chance. He must find a way to get rid of the shadow. Salvation is only possible through his father or Zhouwen. The forbidden room becomes the last hope, but the way to it is full of invisible traps. A sudden sense of danger makes the hero stop. Something about the surroundings seems alien. Sounds, shadows, even the air seems to scream of a catch. His instincts urge him to run, but curiosity overrides. One false step and the mystery will turn against him. A young gentleman tries to flirt, but gets a sharp rebuff. A 40-year-old servant reminisces about his wife and his preferences, embarrassing the interlocutor. The awkwardness of the moment distracts from the main goal. The hero uses this to subtly shift the focus of attention. At this second, Xiao hits the young master from behind, causing him to cough and fall forward on his knees. A cough interrupts the silence, turning into a hoarse whisper for help. The hero freezes, trying to determine the source of the sound. Each breath grows heavier, as if the room itself is resisting his presence. Time is running out. Van yells about the danger to the gentleman's life and the fact that there is a killer in the building. The protagonist throws his son at the van and yells that let him catch the kid if he wants him so badly. Running in further, he senses an ominous aura and turns towards the door it is coming from. At the door, he sees the young gentleman's father. At last, he has found the man he has been looking for and can now begin the real action to achieve his goal. The gentleman looks at him in full tension. The veins in his face and neck are swollen and throbbing with all his might. Xiaomu notes that his opponent has finally moved into action. His voice is a mixture of sarcasm and approval, as if he has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Tension builds, but the hero retains his cold judgment, ready for any surprises. The gentleman attacks our protagonist out of the blue. He barely has time to cover his torso with a stick. The impact sent him flying out of the building, punching through the walls and leaving behind dust and shattered pieces of wall. Guoyang's challenge to Guiyang is thrown openly. The words sound like provocation. The character deliberately shows weaknesses to throw the opponent off balance. And Mr. Guo attacks Xiao Mu, following our protagonist's cunning plan. Guoyang attacks the protagonist, again pushing him several dozen meters deep into the mansion's courtyard. The golden cocoon technique makes the character virtually invulnerable. His confidence borders on arrogance, but the opponent is already analyzing the weak points of the defense. The hero's every move is now a test of strength, and invisible threads of energy are woven into a deadly pattern. The accusation of murdering his son comes out with bitterness and rage. The Lord is not looking for excuses. His words are addressed to the boy as if he were demanding a higher judgment. The silence of the opponent only adds fuel to the fire, turning the dialogue into a foreshadowing of a bloody denouement. The hero says he is ready to punish his son if heaven does not do so. He grabs him and with his strong red aura, flips Guiyin face first into the ground in one motion. Kid tries to finish him off, but Master is also a skilled warrior and won't let himself be struck down with such an easy move. The atmosphere heats up and the two characters face each other, baring their teeth like jackals and ready to tear each other apart at any second. Xiao Mu tries to spear Lord with a series of wild strikes, but Lord dodges once more and avoids the head kick. Guiyang threatens to avenge his son by hanging Xiao Mu's body in the middle of his town square. He punches the protagonist, whereupon Xiao Mu flies his back straight into the wall of the building surrounding them. The servant dutifully reports his findings, but his voice trembles. The details of the message are hushed, leaving room for disturbing speculation. The Lord nods, not taking his gaze off the boy who has been slammed into the wall of his luxurious mansion by the impact. Xiao Mu is smiling all red-faced, and with a swollen eye, he is asking to be allowed to die right now and right here. But the Lord prepares to cut him down. Pulling his sword from its sheath, he is ready to avenge his son. The wounds were the result of a brutal fight. Even now, through the pain, the man is looking for a way to continue the fight. The character's hands are shattered, pain permeating every movement. He clenches his teeth, trying to hide the pain, but the trembling in his fingers betrays the suffering. The Overlord despises those who recklessly defy him. He intends to destroy Xiao Lin piece by piece, prolonging his suffering. The methods of torture are sophisticated. Instead of quick death, slow destruction of body and spirit. The hero becomes a victim of someone else's revenge. His next target of torture is his legs, which he tries with all his might to cut off with his sharp sword. The old thief doesn't plan to kill. His goal is to torture. The character refuses to give him pleasure, holding back moans even in agony. Suddenly, he remembers the technique of the vortex of light, a dash of hope. Thoughts of freedom make his body tense up for one last effort. The master notices that the lad seems to be in a very good mood. His gloating and thirst for revenge are thickly laced with despair. Creating poetry at such a moment is infuriating. The opponent accuses the hero of mockery, not noticing that rhyme is part of an ancient technique. The heavenly demon is activated, the energy exploding around him, sweeping away everything in its path. The force of the blow exceeds even the warrior's expectations. The opponent is shocked. The young man was hiding this skill. His technique breaks the usual laws of combat, turning the fight into chaos. Strategy collapses and confidence is replaced by panic. One miscalculation and the outcome is a foregone conclusion. The hero tries to escape, but the path is cut off. Calls for help dissolve in the noise of battle, and the allies are too far away. He hits some object and goes tumbling down some well. What a loser. Shame. The crowd of warriors have lost the fugitive. The commander orders an attack on the Qiao family, sparing no one. Revenge will be bloody. The soldiers are moving toward the manor, their faces contorted with rage. Even children will not escape paying for the sins of others. The order is clear, to find and bring the corpse. The soldiers swear to fulfill the task, but their eyes read fear. The hero has defeated death many times before. The search begins with a thorough search. Every rock, every tree could be hiding traces. The shot switches to the river outside the city. A crowd of bandits and their leader walk along it. Xiao Lin is found in the river, barely alive. The soldiers rush to pull him out, but even half dead, he is a threat. The hero's body is covered in wounds, but the fire of resistance still burns in his eyes. The battle is not over yet. 3 days had passed since Xiao Lin's incident. The news of his heroic assassination attempt on young Masterwa had spread all over Yang City, becoming the main topic of gossip. The town is divided. Some admire the courage. Others are waiting to see how the confrontation with the powerful clan will turn out. The protagonist's sister walks through the city, searching for some clues to understand where her brother is and how he feels now. Almost the entire town prays for the hero's survival. People remember his past exploits, believing that this time, too, he will stand. However, among the crowd are those who whisper in horror, "How is he still alive?" Their fear is mixed with incomprehension of what is happening. He examines his wounds and his hands and reflects on the fact that he didn't get what he wanted so badly. A group of bandits surround Xiao Lin, admiring his deed. One of them takes it upon himself to rescue the hero, rejecting the gratitude. Xiao Lin, weakened by his wounds, has trouble understanding the motives of the strangers. Their presence seems to him both a salvation and a new threat. Wang Songhe orders Xiao Lin to rest, but the hero refuses to help. His body is on edge, and his thoughts are only occupied with not becoming a burden. Xiao is shocked and doesn't understand what this bandit wants from him. Is he really going to treat him all this time? He begs not to be rescued in any way. After all, his main goal is to die with the highest rank. The nurses whisper about his condition, calling the thief a true hero. Even in the face of death, he thinks of others, evoking mixed feelings. The head of the bandits grabs his hand and tries to do something useful to the overall deplorable situation for Qiao Mu. He tells and comforts Qiao Mu that it's okay. It will hurt and pass. He will save him. Qiao is just furious at the whole action. Xiao Lin is desperately begging to be saved from Wang Songhe's torture. His wounds are worsening and his strength is fading by the hour. 2 days later, the hero is barely recognizable. His face is pale. His breathing is intermittent. The allies shout for him to hold on, but hope is fading. He dies, making everyone around him weep for his loss. He sits at the top of the building, reborn and in good health. He looks at his stats and reflects that he has finally achieved his goal. He is finally dead. Wang Songhe tightens his methods, turning each resurrection into an endless nightmare. Xiao Lin's suffering only fuels his determination. The cyclone in the Dantian signals a breakthrough. The hero reaches the highest 8th rank. His skills, including the legendary manual, are improving at an incredible rate. The feeling of decades of training after each resurrection is exhausting, but the power is worth it. The efficiency of the growth amazes even himself. He marvels at the structure of his body and his muscles, envisioning himself as Apollo. He notices a couple of bandits in the bushes. They've been following him for a long time, and he's thinking about something of his own. Xiao Mu abruptly runs up to them, asking who they are and what they're doing here. The bandits are stunned. They didn't see him coming. A traveler identical in appearance to Qiao Ling raises suspicions. His attempts to impersonate the hero's brother seem unconvincing, but his motives remain a mystery. Each resurrection the hero uses for new experiments, hiding his true capabilities. The cat-and-mouse game is just beginning. Qiao Lin's father appears in the camp, shocking everyone with his youth. His appearance is the result of the immortal strike technique that slows down aging. He demands his son back, but the soldiers do not believe that the 30-year-old man is the hero's parent. Tensions rise, threatening a new conflict. The thieves talk among themselves and decide what to do with him. What to do? In the thieves' base, there is a discussion on the way forward. The hut flickers in the background, but the participants are focused on the plan against Goyang. The wanderer in the corner of the room silently observes, his presence distrustful, but for now everyone ignores him. The master supposedly receives news of his son's death. No one even suspects that it is not Xiao's father, but he is Qiao Mu, Lin, or whatever his name is. Xiao Ling's father declares that the deceased has done his duty and calls for action rather than grieving. He vows to avenge Guiyang for the deaths of his 2 sons. His determination infects those around him, but some whisper the entire Qiao family is crazy. Guy recognizes that the thief Wang has strategic thinking. This could be greatly beneficial to their future actions. He offers to join forces to overthrow Goyang, but warns storming the estate is suicide. Xiao Sung, who has 7th rank strength, is seen as a key ally. The negotiations move into the planning phase, where every detail is critical. Wang is given time to think, but Xiao Lin's father interrupts him for his musings. He's had a crazy idea. He offers to plant his son's body on Guiyin to divert attention from their true goals. The idea shocks even seasoned warriors. But the logic is clear: sacrifice for the greater good. Doubts remain, but there are no alternatives. Xiao Lin's body becomes a bargaining chip. He offers to send him back to the mansion. Guy sees this as an opportunity to lure Guiyang out of the fortified manor to attack him on neutral territory. The soldiers acquiesce, but there is bitterness in their eyes. Even the death of a hero becomes a tool of strategy. A young warrior respectfully addresses Xiao Lin's father, offering the services of the best healers. His speech is interrupted. He is afraid of mispronouncing his words in front of the legend. The plan is starting to take shape. A helper has been found. What's left is to raise the death rating to boost skills. Xiao Sung agrees to be an ally. His 7th-ranked strength complements the plot, but Wang reminds him, the main goal is Guiyang's office, not open combat. Preparations are in full swing. Each participant understands that there's only one chance, and the price of a mistake is exorbitant. Rumors about the Qiao family are spreading around the city. Many people doubt whether it is a hoax. Perhaps Xiao Lin created the illusion of support to intimidate his enemies. Guiyang, however, takes the threats seriously. His men are on their way to check every lead. Xiao Lin's body is found in the river by a doctor from Panshan. Soldiers bring him to Guiyang, who orders the corpse to be displayed on the city wall as a warning. Xiao Lin's father, upon learning of this, clenches his fists. Now his revenge has a specific purpose: to humiliate the tyrant in public. He goes to the coffin and lifts its lid. Xiao Lin's body is inside. He is satisfied because this is what he wanted. The servant explains that Lina Measures is already at the doctor's house. But the master is not happy with this outcome. Guiyang announces that he will personally carry out Xiao Lin's execution on the city wall. His words spread through the neighborhood, attracting crowds of gawkers and supporters. Xiao Lin's father is watching from shadows. Tomorrow will be the culmination of their confrontation. Mr. Wang orders the city gates closed to prevent the removal of the corpse. His actions are motivated by fear. He fears that other members of the Qiao family may challenge his authority. The old man shows cold calculation. Outward aggression hides the fear of losing control of the situation. But our hero doesn't care about that. He's confident in his cool plan, and he's ready to stick to it. Mr. Wang suggests dividing the tasks. His allies should act separately, creating distractions. He intends to personally go to the enemy, taking advantage of the moment he leaves the estate. The young assistant doubts success but obeys. His anxiety is mixed with curiosity. What is this plan hiding? The character refuses to work alone, calling the idea suicidal. He accuses Mr. Wang of manipulation in an attempt to maintain his role in the operation. Xiao Mu that he doesn't want Mr. Wang to shine brighter than him, and shows that it's time for him to stop. His speech is full of sarcasm. Do you want me to be the bait? In response, Wang offers a compromise, a few soldiers from the estate in exchange for cooperation. He points to the map where he thinks his corpse was found, and there should be a secret passage. A secret passage has been discovered leading to the mountains through a well in the manor. Mr. Wang decides to use it tomorrow, before the guards are reinforced. Doubts remain. What if it's a trap? But there is no alternative. An open assault will lead to imminent defeat. A group of allies are preparing to infiltrate the estate through a hidden tunnel. Sun Hu's team must already find the entrance to ensure the surprise attack. The character looks down from the heights, realizing one wrong step and the fall will be the end. His hands are trembling, but it's too late to retreat. He clicks his hands and says it's time for him to move out to meet the adventurers further and further away. The teleport system is activated, returning the hero to a previously saved point. Now he has a chance to regroup and attack with renewed vigor. However, the enemy may have already learned of his abilities. Every second of delay reduces the advantage of surprise. He ends up on the outer boroughs of the city. That's where it's going to be decided this time. The teleport feature allows you to instantly move into the city, bypassing locked gates. The hero uses this to get into the heart of enemy territory. In a few hours, he is already roaming the streets, disguised as an ordinary citizen. His goal is to gather information before the decisive strike. Young Mr. Toe's funeral procession is puzzling. Why is it being held without the traditional funeral rituals? The crowd whispers, it's not a burial, it's a show execution. Mr. T uses death as a threat to anyone who dares to defy him. Residents are horrified as they discuss the brutal death of an unknown man. Many suspect it is the same thief who broke into the estate yesterday. Mr. turns tragedy into a spectacle. His goal is to demonstrate his strength, but the people see only the tyrant's weakness. The hero is declared a criminal for trespassing on the estate and killing the heir of the head Lord Go's heir. The townspeople are outraged at the inaction of the authorities, watching the hunger and injustice. The death sentence is perceived as a symbol of tyranny. The people begin to doubt the legitimacy of the ruler's decisions, building up latent resistance. The dialogue reveals the conflict between the government and the people. One of the inhabitants accuses the lord of indifference, while the defenders of the system accuse the peasants of laziness. The dispute erupts into chaos, exposing a deep social divide. Neither side is willing to compromise. The fat nobleman tells no one to approach him as he doesn't want to stink at the poverty of the common people. Suddenly, his ponytail flies off the fat bastard's head. It's very easy to raise such people with a sword. Here came Xiao Mu right in the square, slaughtering all the insolent nobles that were poisoning the common people. The corpse of a peasant is decided to hang on the city wall for intimidation. The characters discuss this as a routine task, showing a complete lack of empathy. Their cynicism emphasizes the moral decay of the elite. Public execution becomes a tool to suppress any hint of rebellion. The rider's body is pierced through by a spear. Finally, Xiao Mu is ready to avenge all ignorance and punish all those involved. He falls into the crowd right under the feet of the annoyed peasants, who are ready to trample him right on the spot. Servants flank him, preparing to defend him from the crowd of peasants and help their master by treating his wounds. The dead man's father vows revenge on the ruler. His anger is directed not only at the murderer, but also at the system that allows impunity. The family plans a thousand-fold reckoning, turning a personal tragedy into a threat to all power. Their determination changes the balance of power in the city. Xiao Lin's discovery causes shock and denial. The character refuses to believe the betrayal, his screams mixed with rage and powerlessness. Those around him try to calm him down, but the event itself sows seeds of discord among allies. Doubts about the existence of the Qiao family reach a peak. The characters order the elimination of anyone associated with the name, fearing a hoax. Their paranoia intensifies. Every step is accompanied by fear of an invulnerable threat. The call to attack sounds like a last chance. The characters prepare for battle, realizing that retreat will lead to death, and victory seems almost impossible. Their determination is bolstered by the realization this is the final frontier, beyond which is either glory or oblivion. He continues to chop up the enemies around him, sinking harder and harder into the thick of the guards and other servants of the Lord. One kid prepares to strike Qiao from behind and brings his sword into a leap, shouting the imminent death of his opponent. He pierces through this guy with his long spear in one swift strike. The red aura around them thickens. One of the warriors commands his battalion to give them a hail of arrows. Dozens of bows are pointed towards Qiao. But the arrows don't reach our protagonist, as he swings his spear and chops down the entire wave of arrows coming at him. But shields were put up in front, protecting the rest of the army from the frenzied Xiao Mu's forces. The monster methodically destroys the city's fortifications, causing panic among the defenders. His actions are chaotic but effective. Each attack leaves ruins in its wake. The soldiers try to counterattack, but their efforts resemble trying to stop a hurricane. The question of why the Qiao family is not afraid of death hangs in the air, reinforcing the mystical halo of what is happening. Amidst the devastation, it becomes clear that conventional methods are powerless. An unconventional approach is required, but time for its development is rapidly melting away. Suspicions of Qiao's son's switch are growing. The resemblance between father and heir is too perfect to be doubted, even by loyal servants. An old thief observing the situation scoffs at attempts to explain the anomaly. His hints of puppetry add to the unease, but the details remain hidden. The conflict between logic and the supernatural escalates. The characters are forced to act in conditions where truth borders on illusion. Accusations of the murder of a gentleman's son inflame the conflict. The victim's father demands justice, but his words are drowned in excuses. The defenders of the system accuse the peasants of ingratitude, ignoring hunger and poverty. The social divide turns into a chasm where each side sees only its own truth. Against this backdrop comes the idea that it is only revenge that drives them both. The hero faces ridicule for trying to feed the hungry. His actions are perceived as weakness rather than mercy, emphasizing the cynicism of the elite. Rumors of the ruler's secret diet spread through the city. People begin to believe that their suffering is part of someone else's game. Against this backdrop, the hero makes a decision to save the city, even if it requires sacrificing his own reputation. The fight ends with the defeat of his opponent, who does not last 10 seconds. His last words are a mixture of threats and admissions of weakness. The winner coolly analyzes the fight, noting his opponent's mistakes. However, a shadow of doubt flickers in his eyes. Was it too easy? The crowd watching the fight is divided. Some see him as a hero, others as a new tyrant. Then the Lord himself appears behind one and praises him for his good service and noble endeavors. But at that very second, he pulls out a knife and strives forward. What's going to happen now? He pierces through his henchman, setting his goal of striking Xiao Mu above the life of his own favorite servant. Our protagonist is shocked by what is happening, because he did not expect such cruelty from the gentleman. His opponent, however, is convinced of the opposite. He vows to turn his master into a dead man, not realizing that he himself has become a pawn in someone else's game. Against the backdrop of this confrontation, forces begin to unite. He prepares to strike a blow right in his face. The mockery of the empty tyrant takes on a new meaning. The hero demonstrates that even 1,000,000 subjects will not save the ruler from the wrath of the people. His words become the spark that ignites the flames of rebellion. Fear of power is gradually replaced by rage. But behind the scenes, a conspiracy is already brewing. The tyrant's allies are willing to do anything to maintain the status quo. The hero's mortality rating is perplexing. The character realizes his fist-fighting skills do not guarantee immortality, but only delay the inevitable. Disappointment is replaced by determination. He decides to put all his energies into finding the true path to immortality, even if it requires sacrifice. Rumors of a secret immortality technique stir the city. The hero learns that skill in fist-fighting can prolong life, but at the cost of endless training. His decision to follow this path evokes mixed feelings. His allies admire his courage, while his opponents are preparing to use it against him. Meanwhile, something inexplicable is happening at the ruler's estate. The shadows of the past begin to come to life. The time for reflection has expired. The hero hurries to the meeting place, ignoring the warnings of the trap. His goal is to end the tyranny before the city turns into ruins. Shortened life expectancy due to training no longer scares him. Every step forward is a step towards freedom. At the last moment, however, he faces an unexpected obstacle: betrayal among his own. An unknown group of people consisting of bandits appears in the courtyard, leaving a trail of fire and destruction in their wake. The Lord realizes that they took advantage of a security breach and got past the guards. The Lord gives the order to gather all the allies and march to the manor. His voice is as hard as steel. No delay will be tolerated. The bandits' goal is clear: to protect Xiao Mu's honor at all costs. The warriors look at each other, realizing that the battle will be bloody. A shadow of doubt flickers in their eyes, but discipline prevails. Everyone checks their weapons, preparing for the inevitable. The group bursts into the manor, leaving no survivors behind. The screams of their enemies mingle with the clang of swords, turning the halls into an inferno. Blood flooded the floor, and the air smelled of iron. Even the wind seemed to stand still, not daring to intervene. The Lord watches the carnage, his face grinning furiously. He knows there is no mercy today, only victory or death. A hail of arrows flies at the crowd of bandits who tried to defend the honor of their hero and the honest people. At the last moment, a red aura leaps among the ranks of bandits, which helps them survive by cutting off the entire hail of arrows. They turn around and see that the one who saved their hero is Qiao. They rejoice that he turned out to be alive. An attempt to grab Qiao fails. The man fights back with inhuman strength, breaking the bones of his attackers. Qiao Lin rushed into the fight, his blade glittering. Blow after blow, but the opponent seems invulnerable. The allies advance, leaving the hero alone with the tyrant. The outcome of the battle hangs in the balance. Fear grips the ranks of the allies. They whisper about the ghostly nature of the enemy, comparing him to an ancient demon. Qiao Lin stopped the panic by reminding them of their duty. His words made the warriors clench their teeth and move forward. However, doubts remain. How do you defeat someone who does not obey the laws of mortals? The results of the attack are unfortunate. The manor is in ruins, but Mr. Toe is unharmed. His laughter echoes through the corridors. Qiao Lin examines the wounds of his companions, realizing tactics require change. The enemy's strength exceeds all expectations. The fire of determination lights up in his eyes. It's time to risk everything for a break. The hero challenges Mr. Toe to a duel. Their blades clash with a clash of sparks. Qiao Lin's every strike is accurate, but his opponent parries it with frightening ease. The difference in skill is obvious. The allies freeze, realizing the outcome of this battle will determine the fate of the city. Mr. Toe demonstrates his monstrous strength, crushing the walls with a single blow. His rage knows no bounds. He accuses the hero of ruining his plans. Qiao Lin retreats, looking for weaknesses. Blood oozes from his wounds, but the pain recedes before the adrenaline. The master shouts, assuring his opponent that it's definitely over now. He prepares to kill Qiao Mu. As he thrusts his blade forward, he desires only the agonizing collapse of his opponent. The rage and madness in his eyes is frightening. The scene cuts to a climax. The wind flutters the cloaks of the fighters, and the audience holds its breath. Suddenly his hand grips the blade, disregarding the unbearable pain that is now present due to the sharpness of the sword. The character doubts the effectiveness of the technique used, noting the lack of time to master it. His words sound like a rebuke, but behind them lies anxiety. What if all the effort is in vain? The guy tries to calm him down by reminding him of his first combat experience. However, the arguments seem weak in the face of the growing threat. Tension between them is rising, but open conflict is tempered by the need to act quickly. The mention of the third meeting stirs the master's mind. He thinks about what it means. Suddenly he realizes that the man in front of him and the two men that died before are the same guy. Qiao cuts through the lord with his spear. This is his end and the end of all his thinking. The opponent listens silently to the claims, but there is a cold determination in his eyes. He knows that the time for excuses is over. Action is needed. He's starting to realize who's in front of him, that this guy's not who he says he is. Finally, the kid reveals his secret to Guoyan, that he is Qiao Lin, meaning he never died until the end. The news of Guoyan's death spreads instantly. Someone shouts, "Qiao killed him like a hero." His name is repeated in whispers like an incantation. Even his opponents recognize his death as a game changer. The exclamations of Hero Qiao mingle in the chaos. He admires himself and his glory around him. But suddenly his face was spattered with blood and he fell to the ground. He seems to be badly wounded, and he, bleeding, proposes a re-rating of death. His words are punctuated by coughing, but the idea is in the air. A wounded ally tries to convince the others that he will save the hero. The wounded ally tries to convince the others that he will save the hero. Qiao Lin pushes the assistants away, refusing to help. "Don't waste your strength on me," he mumbled, but there was still a spark of hope in his eyes. Qiao demonstrates an incredible speed of recovery from injuries. His body seemingly defies the laws of biology, eliciting a mixture of admiration and dismay from those around him. His allies notice strange behavior. His gaze has become detached, and his movements unnaturally abrupt. They whisper about the possible consequences of such abilities. Despite his external stability, Qiao's internal energy is nearly depleted. It will take weeks to fully recover, but time is a luxury he doesn't have. City affairs remain in disrepair, while Qiao focuses on his personal goals. His assistant persistently offers to help, but is rebuffed. The words, "Don't touch me," sound like a shield, shielding the hero from the world. But behind the rudeness lies fear. Qiao does not want others to see his corpse. The dialogue ends in an awkward silence. The aide retreats, leaving Qiao alone with his thoughts of the approaching threat. Qiao ironically discusses plans to eliminate the enemy. His proposal to make a noble sacrifice is perplexing, but his interlocutor does not dare to refuse. The conversation turns to the search for martial arts clans. Qiao mentions the Life District, where ancient techniques are rumored to be preserved. The idea of going there seems crazy, but there are no alternatives. Even skeptics admit it's the only chance to turn the tide of the war. Qiao announces his immediate departure for the Life District. The allies try to dissuade him by pointing out his unhealed wounds, but he is adamant. His motives are twofold: to find a cure and to escape from his own fears. The phrase "I want to get rid of you as soon as possible" hurts the assistant, but remains unanswered. The group begins to prepare for the journey. Everyone realizes that there may be no turning back. The assistant recommends Qiao to contact the official Shun Li, promising support. The hero asks suspiciously where such connections come from, but gets an evasive answer. It becomes clear the assistant's past is full of secrets. Qiao decides to seize the opportunity, despite the risks. The farewell to the aide passes warmly. Qiao thanks him for his loyalty, but there is recognition in his voice. The granted coins should help on the way, but the hero doubts their value. Trust in the authorities has long been lost. The assistant whispers good luck as he says goodbye. Qiao nods, already absorbed in the thoughts of the upcoming ordeal. A bandit discovers that the city's resources have been looted by the elite. The hungry inhabitants look to him with hope, but he can't help them. The mission remains the priority. His anger mixes with guilt. Thoughts of justice return like a curse, but there is no stopping. The protagonist suggests that little one take all these treasures and riches for himself. Qiao proposes that the head lead the rebellion, using the new steward as a puppet. The plan is risky, but give him a chance at legal power. The counselor's farewell is filled with reverence. Qiao takes the ancient manual, remaining grateful. Sun advises him to use the technique of the infinite path of pure yang. The interlocutor doubts the applicability of the technique, given the hero's age and family status. Xiao Mu, however, is convinced that even the slightest chance is worth the risk. The conversation ends with the decision to practice the method despite the warnings. The hero's eyes are full of excitement. He is ready to challenge nature. Xiao Mu studies the ancient manual further, describing the mortal body transformation technique. The manual combines ancient knowledge and modern techniques, including the art of disguise. The detailed instructions on bone alteration are both interesting and disturbing. Xiao Mu notices that the text is too complex for quick study. He suggests a joint analysis, but time is running out. The journey to the Life District is urgent. The companion reminds, even a partial understanding can be the key to immortality. The hero nods, already mentally planning experiments. An attempt to convince Xiao Mu to stay fails. The hero thanks his ally for his help, but rejects further cooperation. His goal is clear: to be part of a bigger plan, even if it means temporary loneliness. In parting, he promises to meet again when things change. The companion remains in thought, watching Xiao Mu's figure dissolve into the distance. He runs into the building and calls for his sister Shui, but she apparently isn't around. Sis returns, and he declares victory over an old enemy. His appearance has changed. His hair is graying, but his eyes burn with determination. His companion notices the strangeness of his appearance, but her questions remain unanswered. The hero jokes away, calling it a payment for strength. A shadow of anxiety slides across the faces of the allies. They realize that the price of victory may have been too high. Xiao Mu and a companion head to the Life District to search for the lost pages of the manual. Their goals are the same, but their motives are different. The hero craves power, she craves knowledge. The dialogue turns into a joking argument about coincidences. The companion hints that their meeting is not accidental, but Xiao Mu ignores the innuendo. He is focused on the main thing, finding the clan of immortals hiding in this region. In the Life District, Xiao Mu encounters a clan envoy. He mentions the hero's serious wounds, but is surprised at his outward vigor. Xiao Mu hides the pain, pretending to have fully recovered. His confidence is impressive, but the envoy notices the trembling in his hands. The conversation ends with an invitation to Master Wang, the only one who knows the true secrets of immortality. Boy Wang lives in the mountains, which are almost impossible to reach. Xiao Mu finds him by chance, which raises suspicions of a controlled fate. The old man refuses to reveal secrets, but the hero insists. Their dialogue is filled with hints of past mistakes and undiscovered potentials. Xiao Mu leaves with a promise to return when he proves himself ready. Gai Wang leaves the hero with a choice to become a nomad or a healer. The first will give freedom of movement, the second, access to the closed knowledge of the clans. Xiao Mu chooses nomadism, planning to use mobility to seek information. His decision brings a smile to the master's face. He foresaw this outcome. Xiao Mu greets everyone, saying that he's the new constable in this whole movement, and he's ready to act. The companions watch him in silence, not understanding how this kid became the new constable so quickly. But they're interrupted by a lady. She asks them to be quiet and explains that they are now on the same team and should be more polite. Bu Chan, a monster that feeds on the energy of death, terrorizes the city. Even the highest-ranking masters are powerless against him, causing panic among the residents. They call him the Shadow of the Apocalypse. With each victim, his power grows and his hopes of victory melt away. Xiao Mu studies the records, trying to find a loophole in his invulnerability. Night patrols have increased, but fear paralyzes even the most experienced warriors. The city is frozen in anticipation of the decisive battle. The Suntan clan, which destroyed the Qiao family, is becoming active again. Their new temple, built on the ruins of the hero's domain, has become a symbol of impunity. Xiao Mu suspects that they are the ones controlling the monster to weaken their rivals. His theory is supported by ancient texts linking the clan to dark rituals. The companions listen silently, realizing the confrontation with Suntan is not just revenge, but a fight for the future of the entire region. The guards panic as they discuss their incompetence in the face of the threat. Their dialogues are full of fear and hopelessness, as if they are already seeing defeat. Xiao Mu interrupts them by presenting a clear plan of action. His authority and cold logic return a semblance of order to the team. An unknown warrior offers help, claiming to know the monster's weaknesses. His confidence raises a mixture of hope and suspicion among the guards. She offers to track the creature near prisons and almshouses, where the concentration of deaths is high. Xiao Mu agrees, but orders him to watch the newcomer in exchange for his trust. The companions whisper, wondering if the warrior is related to the Santan clan. Tension rises, but the time for inspection has expired. The discussion of tactics raises an ethical debate about whether to use the dying as bait. Some see it as a necessary evil. Others see it as a loss of humanity. Xiao Mu stops the debate by stating that the end does not justify any means. He insists on finding a balance between efficiency and morality. A compromise is found. The group will focus on tracking the monster without direct risk to innocence. The solution unites the team, reducing the conflict. The plan of attack was finally approved. Xiao Mu would lead the group outside the prison where the monster had recently fed, and the 6th-rank warriors would provide cover. Doubts still hang in the air, but there are no alternatives. Each participant realizes that this is not just a battle, but a battle for the survival of the entire city. Preparations are in full swing. Xiao Mu checks his weapon, mentally repeating the enemy's weak points learned from the ancient manuscripts. The Guardian wonders about the consequences of accidentally killing a monster before the clan arrives. His concerns reflect the double standard of laws that protect immortals but ignore ordinary people. Xiao Mu reminds the team that their mission is to save lives, not to engage in political games. His words sound like an implicit challenge to the established order, instilling determination in the team. The discussion ends in silent agreement. Everyone realizes that even the slightest mistake could cost them everything, but inaction is even more dangerous. A conversation about rewards exposes the cynicism of reality. One of the guards offers, with bitter irony, a tour of the immortal lands as compensation. His words elicit nervous laughter, but it hides the fatigue of endless sacrifices. Xiao Mu interrupts the jokes, reminding him of the main purpose. He emphasizes that victory must come first, and issues of fairness and reward will be decided later. The atmosphere of tension subsides, but distrust of the system remains. The warriors turn their attention to preparation, realizing that only action will change their fate. Xiao Mu urges his companions to waste no time and find a new way to explore the Suntan clan. His tone is firm, but his eyes are tired even he is close to the limit of his strength. The plan includes a detailed inspection of the city, stone by stone. Every piece of evidence found must be reported immediately before the clan covers its tracks. The team splits up. Xiao Mu takes on the riskiest section. His argument is simple. Only he can recognize the traps of the immortals. The guards discuss in confusion the order to collect the dying. Their moral quandaries mingle with their fear of disobeying their immortal protectors. Xiao Mu cuts the argument short, ordering them to focus on finding clues in the city. He reminds them that their duty is to protect the living, not blind obedience. The leader of the Suntan clan watches them from afar. His shadow flickers in the alley, as if testing the resolve of the opponents. The irony of the situation does not escape the team. To defeat the death-eating monster, they will have to become the bait. Xiao Mu silently agrees. There is no other choice. His hands clutch an ancient scroll with energy suppression techniques. The method is dangerous, but the hero is willing to risk everything to outwit the enemy. Darkness descends on the city, turning the streets into a maze of shadows. Every step echoes, as if the darkness itself were warning of danger. The eastern district of the city has been turned into an immortal stronghold. A boy infiltrates a fortified tavern. His goal is to gather information about the rituals of the clan. Inside, there is grim luxury, candles made of human fat, walls decorated with bones. The report of Xiao Mu's infiltration of the government chamber causes a stir. Counselor Wang Sun recommends him as a candidate for constable, concealing his true motives. Officials are confused. How did a mere warrior gain access to secret documents? Suspicion falls on the San clan, but there is no proof. Xiao Mu uses the assignment to move around the city legally. His true goal is to find the connection between the officials and the monster. Xiao Mu's sudden recommendation of Xiao Mu for the constable post raises questions. Wang Sun's decades of silence make the move suspicious. He accepts the position, realizing it's a chance to infiltrate the system. His first order of business is to arrange a meeting with the mysterious Xiao Mu, whose name has surfaced in the documents. The team is preparing for a new phase of the operation. Even the skeptics admit the hero is a game-changer they weren't prepared for. 10 years ago, a girl met a child whose presence now unsettles him again. The past reminds of itself, binding their fates by an invisible thread. The woman ponders the strange coincidence. Perhaps it is not a coincidence, but part of someone's plan hidden behind the shroud of time. The elder mentions the Xiao family, whose abilities balance immortality and martial arts. His words sound like a warning, but they mask an interest in the hero's talents. The sister refuses to join the clans, causing the elder to be perplexed. She offers to stay, but the hero silently leaves, maintaining his independence. Xiao Mu's question about Xiao Mu's current occupation remains unanswered. The elder sees him off with a glance, realizing that this path will either lead to glory or ruin. The main character is behind bars and picks his nose out of boredom. It's a pretty comical situation. The guard warns him that he should have been on his best behavior and not try to run away from here. Xiao Mu is overjoyed, for he sincerely reads that this prison is where he belongs. Xiao Mu stops abruptly after hearing his opponent's challenge. His blade gleams in the last rays of the sunset, ready for a swift attack. The man parries the blow in a single movement, throwing the enemy back. Fear flashes in his opponent's eyes as he realizes that he is facing a living legend. The immortal disappears into the twilight, leaving behind only the whisper of the wind. This battle was another link in the chain of his endless evolution. The guy spends half an hour pondering, analyzing his recent actions. Each decision is like a branch on a tree of possible outcomes. An elder interrupts his meditation, hinting at his duty to the clan. Xiao Mu dismisses the hints, preferring the path of solitude. A stranger in a tavern catches his attention with a strange manner of speech. This meeting may change the balance of power in the region. The warrior assesses his opponent's technique, noting traces of an ancient style. He may be a student of a forgotten martial arts school. The imperial aide abruptly changes the topic of conversation. His nervousness betrays hidden concerns about the ruler's plans. Xiao Mu picks up the contradictions in the words of his interlocutor. Every phrase now seems to be part of a complex political game. The question of the emperor hangs in the air. The boy compares him to a shadow, omnipresent but elusive to mortals. The attempt to heal the ruler failed. Xiao Mu now suspects that his death was necessary for some ritual. The secret passage in the temple remains empty. This absence is more important than any clue, as if reality itself is resisting the clue. The words of assassination make the man clench his fists. Even immortals dare not defy the imperial guards. The threat of execution sounds like an echo of past lives. Xiao Mu chuckles. Each death only reinforces the legend. Rumors of his death are spreading throughout the empire. It's not a weakness, it's a strategy to let fear work for him. The immortals are compared to an unstoppable element. Even great armies crumbled before their eternal power. The imperial compromise raises suspicions. Guy searches for hidden meaning in the treaty, as if unraveling a battle scheme. Rumors of the ruler's cunning plan are stirring minds. Xiao Mu decides to become the unpredictable element that will ruin all calculations. The compromises of the elders resemble a game of dice. The boy refuses to be a pawn, preferring the role of an invisible threat. Memories of the temple are bittersweet. The ruler knew of the sacrifices, but chose to maintain the status quo for the illusion of order. The common people are expendable to the emperor. This truth makes Xiao Mu reconsider his methods of confrontation. The misery of ghost towns contrasts with the opulence of palaces. The immortal vows to break the cycle. The Son of Heaven becomes an object of ridicule. His attempts to control the immortals resemble a child's play in a sandbox. The absurdity of the situation exposes the truth. The Emperor's fear is stronger than any weapon. Xiao Mu decides to use it. A daring young man defies the odds, not realizing who he's messing with. His words are the spark that could ignite an empire-wide rebellion. Guy catches himself thinking, the predicted death of the Emperor is too obvious. Perhaps it's a trap for the unwary. Xiao Mu disappears into the crowd, leaving a riddle instead of answers. His next move will determine the fate of not only the Empire, but the immortals as well. The law demands punishment for insulting the Emperor, but the hero remains adamant. His words are a challenge to a system where truth has long been a commodity. The elders try to change the man's mind by offering a compromise. However, their arguments are shattered by the immortal's iron will. The threat of execution only strengthens one's resolve. This dispute is not about life, but about the right to preserve dignity in the face of tyranny. A sudden outburst of anger interrupts the negotiations. The courtiers freeze, waiting for the bloody outcome of the conflict. The emperor is furious and orders the impertinent guest to be seized. But Xiao Mu has already disappeared, leaving only a mocking footprint on the stone floor. The guards are at a loss. Every such escape of the master casts a shadow on the invincibility of the ruler. The report of a young man who insulted the emperor causes laughter in the crowd. The people are tired of empty threats and ostentatious cruelty. The attempted arrest turns out to be a farce. The boy himself holds out his hands for the chains. His calmness embarrasses even the experienced guards. Word of the great shame is spreading through the neighborhoods. Soon the whole city will be talking about immortals learning lessons from commoners. The death row inmates greet the hero like an old acquaintance. Their jokes about fate sound bitter, but without fear. The monk in the corner whispers prayers while looking at Xiaomu. His eyes are not a plea for salvation, but a strange expectation of a miracle. The blade of an immortal flashes in the darkness. This night will be the last for the prison, and the first for a new legend. The silence of the ruins is broken by footsteps. Only the wind remembers the names of the fallen warriors among the statues. Guy runs his hand over the ancient symbols on the wall. Each feature is a message from an era when immortals ruled the world. A sudden beam of light reveals a hidden passageway. The answers he has been seeking for centuries lie around the corner of the corridor. A cat makes its way through the infested lands, avoiding traps. The locals have long since abandoned the place, fearing the deadly fog. Xiao Mu notices traces of poison on the stones. Even an immortal can't survive here, so he has to find a way around the ruins of the temple. A sudden rustle makes him turn around. A shadow among the ruins moves too deliberately to be an accident. The masked thief taunts the guards, remembering his former glory. His name once rang out as a defender of the poor, but now his wounds speak for themselves. Guy watches the fight from the shadows. The thief's technique is reminiscent of an ancient style that was thought to have been lost after the fall of the Lin dynasty. Blood oozes from a wound on his shoulder. The holy thief loses consciousness, leaving a mystery. Who could defeat someone that even the best blades could not take? Memories of his youth resurface unexpectedly. Hundreds of rounds against an undefeated master. It seemed crazy then, but now it seems prophetic. The old scar on his arm throbbed. A mistake made decades ago still affects every movement in battle. A shout from the darkness interrupts his musings. Someone is hiding in the catacombs, perhaps a clue to the current events. The cat approaches and with a green glow began to do something to the crazy elder's soul. Chow Meow jumps up in her cell and starts yelling at the cat. What is he doing? The legend of the kitten raises a chuckle. According to the records, death strengthens immortals, but Xiao Mu doubts whether this is a metaphor. The constable whispers about the rituals of the imperial court. His words are like a jigsaw puzzle where the main piece is missing, the ruler's motive. The shadow on the wall takes the form of a beast. The boy prepares to attack, but the creature dissolves, leaving only the smell of sulfur. He convinces the cat to attack him, because the cat likes the energy of his death so much. And the kitty didn't hesitate to jump on him, releasing his claws and trying to eat him just like he did the mouse. The guards demand proof of his inhumanity. Their spears shake. They have heard him return from the dead with renewed vigor. The mocking question about lost honor goes unanswered. Xiao Mu walks away, leaving behind dead silence and broken armor. The rumor of a monster in human form spreads through the barracks. Fear is a weapon that requires no blade. A strange visitor claims to be terminally ill. His request sounds like a provocation. Escort me to the execution. I will not escape. The Imperial Guard hesitates. The search is inconclusive, but the old man's eyes are calm beyond mortal comprehension. The dungeon is empty again. The people on the wall are the same ones Xiao Mu saw in the ruins of the temple. The chain is closing. The prisoner's impatience borders on madness. He demands that the execution be hastened, as if death were a long-awaited release. The guard laughs, not noticing his hand trembling. This scene is too reminiscent of the old legend of the demon asking for a sword to commit suicide. Xiao Mu is watching from the camera. This person is probably just a tactless freak who can't keep his mouth shut. The bars break with the ease of paper. The cat disappears, leaving claw marks on the stones, as if mocking the jailers. The old man is dead, but his smile speaks more than words. The funeral rites turn into a spectacle, hiding imperial secrets. The boy is the last to leave, taking the fragment of the plaque with him. The inscription on it matches the symbols from his nightmares. The arrest of the hero causes a stir in the court. His actions, like a mirror, reflect the hidden contradictions of imperial politics. The guards whisper about treason. Xiao Mu watches silently, noting the fear in the eyes of even the most powerful officials. At night, a mysterious messenger appears in his cell. His offer sounds like a chance, but the boy recognizes the trap in every word. A young official insists on his innocence. His attempt to investigate from prison seems naive but touching. Xiao Mu notices the imperial seal on the documents. This man is a pawn in a game where the life of an entire neighborhood is at stake. Under the cover of darkness, the boy takes him outside the dungeon. Now, they both have to flee from the shadows of the past and the future. The connection between the executed prisoner and the emperor is becoming a rumor. It is whispered in the taverns that the ruler himself ordered the desecration of his name. Xiao Mu finds a dagger bearing the dynasty's family crest. Every pattern on the blade confirms that a conspiracy has penetrated the heart of power. A night patrol blocks the way. The guy disappears, leaving only a scrap of map with the mark of an abandoned temple. A tricolored kitten becomes the center of strange events. His appearance near the corpses suggests a mystical intermediary. Xiao Mu investigates energy anomalies. The creature does not attack, but its presence violates the laws of nature, as if death itself were playing with reality. At dawn, the kitten disappears. A symbol identical to the one he saw in the palace dungeons remains in the sand. The cat is suspected of some evil deeds, but our protagonist convinces everyone around him that the cat is not capable of such things. He issues a suggestion that Wu Chong feeds off the energy of dead people, but he doesn't kill anyone himself. The girl is shocked and doesn't understand exactly what Xiao Mu wants to say. The question about the second monk hangs in the air. The elders avoid answering, but their trembling hands reveal their fear of the unknown. The tiger in the sky begins to move. Xiao Mu prepares to fight, but the creature dissolves, leaving only the smell of incense. The lunar sisters are in a panic. Sacred animals are disappearing one by one. Their disappearance threatens to break an ancient treaty with the spirits. Xiao Mu discovers a monster lair in the caves. The creature resists but does not attack, as if waiting to be destroyed. After the battle, a guy finds an amulet with the imperial emblem. Someone deliberately upset the balance to provoke a war. A junior officer dreams of promotion while hunting a mythical beast. His ambition is blind. He does not see that he has become a tool in other people's hands. Xiao Mu chases the monster Wu Chong through the swamps. The creature leads him to a ruin where the walls are scrawled with prophecies of the fall of the dynasty. As the sun sets, the boy realizes that catching the beast is only the beginning. The true goal of the conspirators is much more terrible than he could have guessed. The operation to capture the unpredictable monk enters a crucial phase. The search is centered in the western district of the city, where suspicious activity was seen during the night. Xiao Mu checks the guard's latest reports. His intuition tells him that the monk is deliberately leading them on a false trail, masking the true purpose. At the edge of the neighborhood, a guy notices a full moon. Something important is going to happen tonight. The feeling of surveillance haunts the hero from the moment he escapes from prison. Every movement seems to be tracked by an invisible observer merging with the shadows. The question of endless sleep remains unanswered. Xiao Mu discovers traces of an herbal drug. Someone is trying to manipulate his mind. A cat with multicolored eyes appears. Its presence breaks the silence, but the boy feels that it is not an enemy, but a harbinger of change. He strokes the cat, and the cat meows. A perfect couple six that are pleasant to watch and sympathize with. This cat, and his sniffing reminds him of his sister Shui. He imagines her with cat ears and in a cat pose. A girl comes along and notices this cat. He seems familiar to her, and she tries to understand why. This cat is the demon he was talking about. The kitty cat flashes its green eyes and quickly runs away into the distance. A chase ensues, and the guy and girl immediately jump after him forward into the city. The seal turns right at first, moving toward the western border of the city, but then abruptly changes his direction. Catching up with him is not easy. The chase for the agile fugitive ends at the gate. Xiao Mu slows down. The criminal's disappearance is too much like teleportation rather than a normal escape. The guards look around the area in confusion. Only the boy notices on the stones the name of the place they have come to. He looks at the gate and ponders how he got away from them. It's unlikely he opened the gate and walked in. The territory of the Var waters is shrouded in a sinister aura. The sect leader, Jiang Long, uses bloody rituals to increase his power over the elements. Xiao Mu examines the altar covered in runes. Each symbol pulsed with energy, as if responding to the presence of an immortal. A little earlier in these purple waters, a gigantic figure emerges from the mist, the Dawn himself, whose power is now comparable to a natural catastrophe. Negotiations with the immortal clan turn into a test. Mrs. Santel demands proof of skill before she will allow a hero into her ranks. The girl is demonstrating the technique of severed wind. His movements, a mixture of martial arts and magic, silence even the skeptics. However, the clan's true purpose is revealed later. They're looking for someone who could destroy the emperor while maintaining the balance between the worlds. The immortal Mistress Calm is deceptive. Her offer of an alliance hides a trap. The hero's every move will now be under the clan's control. The guy refuses the deal, but leaves the door open. As a farewell, he destroys the training dummy, demonstrating a power that cannot be tamed. The wind carries away the debris mixed with sakura petals. The gesture would become legendary among the clans, further confusing their plans. The energy of death concentrates around the dying prisoner. The girl watches as the tricolored cat consumes her, growing to the size of tiger. The cat intervenes, interrupting the ritual. The explosion of energy leaves behind only ashes and the question, who taught the animal to control the powers of the beyond? She holds out a pouch to the cat and points to the tiger. This is what he has to do now. The bloody sacrifice calms the monster only temporarily. Xiao Mu discovers that it is not the creature that feeds the killer's energy. The hero clutches the amulet given by the monk. Its glow intensifies. The clue is somewhere nearby, around the corner of the endless corridor. A sudden explosion shakes the walls. The smoke obscures the movement of the figures. Someone is skillfully using the commotion for their own purposes. Xiao Mu notices traces of blood on the floor. They lead to a tiger, jumping on top of them and flying onward. The appearance of a second demon throws the squad into shock. Its claws leave deep scars on the stone, as if cutting the air itself. The boy analyzes the manner of the attacks. The creature does not move like a wild animal, but as if controlled by an invisible puppeteer. Suddenly, the demon backs away. Its growl merges with the echo, leaving the question, was it an attack or a warning? A monk from the Santel clan loses control of the sacred animals. Their aggression is not directed at humans, but at destroying ritual altars. Xiao Mu discovers traces of poison in the feed. Someone deliberately provoked the beast's madness to cover up the traces of another crime. He is surprised to see that there are two animals on the rooftops, a cat and a tiger. They're chasing each other. He jumps in and saves the kitten by picking it up. He already feels like a great hero. But all is not well. A huge tiger catches up with them and pounces from behind, leaving no chance for both of them. The demon tiger attacks with redoubled force. Its blows leave cracks in the ground, threatening to collapse the cliff above the camp. The boy uses the moon blade technique, directing energy at the weak points of the enemy. The creature retreats, but there is no fear in its eyes, only calculation. She pushes our protagonist away, but it's already decided. Someone has to die. The girl covers her eyes and prepares herself for her quick demise from the claws and jaws of the striped tiger. The offer to sacrifice his life hangs in the air. The hero refuses, realizing that such a death will only strengthen the enemy's position. The clan elder breaks the ritual staff in a rage. His threats lose force. The boy already knows where the evidence of the conspiracy is hidden. He turns to the girl and says that he won't let her die so easily in his place. He comes up with a new plan again. Xiao Mu is ordered to find the source of the fortifications. His way lies through abandoned mines, where even the air is permeated with danger. The tracker watches and thinks about the fact that those he's watching are crazy and they've decided to die right here. He recalls the Lord's request and ponders his desire about whether he wants to fulfill it. The constables block the way, threatening retaliation. Their armor shines in the moonlight, but the trembling in their voices betrays their fear of the immortal. She's analyzing their formation. The fighting technique is reminiscent of Imperial Guard training, which means the conspiracy has infiltrated the highest circles. Negotiations with a clan of immortals reach an impasse. Their leader refuses the alliance, fearing the Emperor's wrath. The guy notices a crack in the wall of the hall. A stiff striped tiger stands on it, ready to kill our hero. The night bell rings, interrupts the meeting. The clan suddenly changes its mind, but Xiao Mu senses a catch. It's a trap, not an alliance. The energy barrier collapses under the impact of the blade. The blast wave throws the hero away, but he manages to grab a fragment of the source crystal. The boy is studying the tiger. Its glow synchronizes with the rhythm of his heart, perhaps the key to controlling the forces of immortality. He thinks about the fact that death by the paws of this tiger will give him a very high death rating and asks the tiger to tear him apart, turning around, trying to hit our protagonist. Now, everything will be decided by a single action. Our hero receives the long-awaited gift and is already preparing to receive the highest death rating. But flying away from the hardest blow, he bumps into two nice bouncy things in front of him. The shadow step technique turns out to be more complicated than expected. Xiao Mu repeats the movements until his silhouette begins to crush in the air. The clan elder observes with a chuckle. His advice sounds like a sneer. Even talents die in a hurry. Suddenly, the guy disappears. He knows what to do and doesn't want to use an imposed technique. The captive lashes out, screaming of injustice. His words about the black rituals cause the elder to reconsider. Kid, look at your screen. The marked point matches the coordinates of the ancient shrine. He sees that the ranking of his rapprochement with the two soft elastics has grown and rejoices. The energy of the shadow step is out of control. Xiao Mu barely manages to stabilize the flow, avoiding an explosion of internal force. The elder appears suddenly. His offer of help contains a hidden condition: to give up the search for truth in order to save a life. The girl realizes now she can only dodge with the technique, but she won't last long and will die soon. The sacred animal is invulnerable. Arrows and blades bounce off its skin as if it were made of light. Xiao Mu notices a scar on the beast's chest, an old wound that someone tried to hide. It might be its only weakness. The girl sidesteps the beast that we are with her together a blow, swift and deadly as her character. Loading the shadow step is completed. The heroes rush forward to see the striped tiger. The guy sees the tiger about to pounce on the girl. He looks at them in rage and prepares to attack. The girl tries to stop him, arguing that he cannot overpower him. But this does not scare our protagonist. The boy discovers a hidden message in the patterns. Each stroke indicates the need to synchronize the inner energy with the rhythm of the shadows. At night, the hero conducts his first successful experiment. His silhouette crashes through the air, leaving behind a plume of shimmering particles. He jumps on top of the tiger and pins it to the ground with his super strong kick, leaving cracks all around. All participants of the fight around in shock with such a turn of events. Few believe that the young guy will be able to pull off such a thing. The demon strike surpasses all expectations. Xiao Mu barely manages to parry the attack, feeling the enemy's energy burning away his armor. The Heaven's Wrath technique turns out to be banned. The boy suspects that someone has deliberately broken the laws to increase the destructive power of the clans. Suddenly, the demon stops. Its eyes lose their fury, as if invisible chains were restraining the creature's will. The Sandal clan's spirit tiger becomes target. The elders demand the return of the sacred animal, threatening to reveal the hero's secrets. Xiao Mu finds the beast on the floor, entangled in energy threads. Each thread pulses, as if connected to a source of another's will. Releasing the tiger causes an explosion. The girl standing next to it asks not to kill the tiger. A strange creature violates the laws of the empire by killing innocents. His ability to manipulate death calls into question the authority of the ruler. Xiao Mu strikes the monster in a rage. He draws his sword with extreme ferocity and strikes the striped tiger. The hero uses brutality in the fight. The creature crumbles to dust, but its last look is full of pain. A warrior who defies the emperor finds himself a pawn. His actions are directed by a mysterious patron whose goals are hidden behind bloody rituals. Now he would go at her with a bloody sword, the one who had sent this tiger over their souls and heads. Their leader, the one everyone thought was dead, prepares for the final act. Xiao says she will have to pay for her misdeeds. The young warrior accuses Xiao Mu of interfering in the affairs of immortals. His voice trembles with rage, but his eyes are filled with fear of the master's power. The woman parries the accusations, reminding him of his right to justice. The argument escalates into threats as the opponent draws his blade, ready for mortal combat. Xiao Mu remains unperturbed. His question about the purpose of his visit hangs in the air, revealing the attacker's true motives. The constables demand an explanation for disobeying orders. Their armor gleams in the torchlight, but the confidence beneath their masks is long gone. The boy figures out their tactics. Every move of the guards is dictated by fear of the immortal clan. He decides not to waste time on a verbal altercation. Xiao Mu tries to stop the process, but it's too late. He drops dead and prepares to get his rating. He asks not to be rescued, but the girl takes some action to revive him anyway. Finally, the guy vaporizes his spirit, getting what he really wanted. The energy of death bursts out of control, threatening to destroy everything around it. Even the immortal is forced to retreat, seeking shelter behind the rocks. The guy notices a weak spot in the barrier. He plays with the kitty and strokes it with his whole hand. The kitty adores his master. He even saved him from death once. Their pair stays together. The wounded tiger dies in the hero's arms. Xiao Mu feels the beast's power flowing into him, leaving the bitter taste of ashes on his lips. The boy vows to find the culprits. The trail leads to an abandoned altar where sacrifices were once made to the elemental spirits. Suddenly, something falls from the tree, straight down, and whizzes by, scaring the kitty standing in the tree. The guy is reborn at the top of the tree, hoping to avoid retribution. Xiao Mu effortlessly takes off, demonstrating his mastery of aerial techniques. Their fight resembles a dance. The blows of their blades send out sparks, lighting up the night. In the finale, the boy disarms the enemy, but leaves him alive. Then they play with their friend, and Xiao Mu scratches the cat behind its soft, fluffy ear. The resurrection ritual requires incredible effort. Xiao Mu feels the energy of death entering his body, threatening to upset the balance. He sees that death has gotten a small rating. His words sound convincing, but the guy remembers, trusting the clans is a mistake. Xiao Mu realizes that someone in the clan has purposely and resolutely withheld information for the sake of having his death have a low rank. The immortality fist technique changes the hero's body. His skin becomes covered with patterns, and his eyes begin to glow in the dark like those of ancient gods. The guy notices a side effect. Time speeds up around him. Every training session is now a race against his own mortality. Xiao Mu disguises himself as a wanderer to infiltrate the enemy camp. His goal is to prove the clan guilty of spreading curses. The old woman begs the hero to find his missing son and bride. Her words are interrupted by sobs. She is ready to do anything to get her family back. Xiao Mu examines the hut, finding signs of a struggle. On the floor is a scrap of cloth with an embroidered symbol familiar from previous investigations. The guy promises to help, but in his heart he doubts. The disappearances are too similar to the rituals of the immortal clan. The official orders an end to the pointless search. His cold tone contrasts with the mother's desperation as she clings to her last hope. Xiao Mu notices the trembling in the official's hands. Fear is in every word, as if he himself is afraid of the consequences of the truth. Someone tells the old woman to bugger off without hearing her pleas or her motive. Batman. A girl comes up and asks if the grandmother's granddaughter really saw her son being killed by a monster. She assures her that it was the morning she lost consciousness, and since then she's been completely unresponsive. They have a wait-and-see vision of her soul being eaten by a monster, but the mistress notices that she's seen this kind of thing before. She calls the old woman with her and says that she will help cure her granddaughter. The grandmother is very happy about this opportunity and the kindness of the lady. Well, the guy breaks into the dialogue and says that the lady is trying to trick the old lady. And you shouldn't listen to that cheater. He accuses this moon fairy girl of being responsible for all those murders that happened in their territory. The accusations against the Santal clan grow louder and louder. The elders demand proof, but their eyes betray knowledge of hidden facts. Guy discovers a secret correspondence. It contains plans to eliminate witnesses and tamper with evidence against immortals. That's the guy we're talking to. Says he's a constable. She asks what he has to back up his accusations. The people's judge challenges Xiao Mu, accusing him of breaking the law. His speech is full of pathos, but his arguments fall apart at the first question. The hero demonstrates the found evidence, but the lady is not even going to interrupt her tirade about her innocence. The crowd freezes. The balance of power shifts. Now the prosecutor is in the role of the accused. A finger is pointed at her by a girl in the crowd. She calls her the culprit for all their village's troubles. She screams exactly that as a tiger rips her parents apart. This fact changes the future fate of the Moon Fairy. A young girl wakes up after a strange accident. Her grandmother tries to calm her down, but the old woman's eyes are troubled. They both know more than they are saying. The people around whispered after the girl pointed at the Moon Fairy. They didn't expect this from the clan. She accuses everyone around her of treason against the state and the clan. How could they think that of her? The girl yells at everyone and asks them to shut up. They're not worthy to even discuss or say her name out loud. A snippet of dialogue breaks off at the threat. Someone is trying to cover up the truth by destroying evidence. The boy discovers signs of a struggle, a broken blade, bloodstains, and a burnt parchment with the Emperor's seal. Prepare to prove guilt and deal with her as an immortal. He reappears with a new name. A guy appears who is hostile to our protagonist. He covers the mistress with his body. This guy turns out to be the girl's older brother, and he says he's not going to let her get attacked that easily. The challenge is thrown. The warrior taunts the master, calling him the plaything of immortals. His technique is a mixture of martial arts and dark magic. Xiao Mu parries attacks by studying his opponent's style. Each strike reveals a weakness, dependence on external energy source. The Moon Fairy's brother is already anticipating his victory, and this one will help him to increase his reputation in the narrow circles of the clan. He prepares to show off his great technique, but the sharp fist of our protagonist stops him by knocking his teeth out. The guy flies right back into the wall and crashes into the wall and stays inside. A scroll with the Law of Heaven demon reckoning falls into the hero's hands. He already knew the technique. Some yellow paper flies near him, and at first he doesn't even give it any attention. The girl activates some technique with fury in her eyes, wishing Xiao Mu nothing but death. Suddenly, a yellow seal explodes from her technique, destroying everything around her and making a huge and strong shockwave. He is shocked at the explosion and wonders, what should he do? How to escape from such a powerful boom? The first thing he decides to do is run, and he takes off, trying to outrun the speed of the shockwave. An energy surge attracts attention. Xiao Mu investigates the anomaly, discovering the features of immortal techniques. Touching it causes severe burns, spreading over the body in seconds and affecting a large area of the body. A cursed burn devours the victim's body, turning the bones to ash. A clan elder scoffs at the suffering, calling it punishment for his alliance with the immortals. The moon fairy watches the prisoner's agony. Every movement increases the pain, but the boy sees a weak point in the magical chain binding the man. She punishes him, for the fire will not stop burning until it turns the stricken man to ashes. The flames engulf the building, but the immortal foe remains unharmed. Her laughter echoes through the burning halls, adding to the sense of hopelessness. Each attack is not aimed at killing, but at suppressing his will, as if she wants to turn him into an obedient puppet. A sudden gust of wind knocks down the flames. Guy uses the moment to strike the moon fairy. He says that even if he dies, he will still show justice because he is a member of the Qiao family, pouncing on the moon fairy. The mortal wound on the immortal's body shocks even her allies. Blood mixes with the energy threads, creating a chaotic vortex. She tries to stabilize the flow, but the enemy forces are too great. Her last words are a curse to all the clans. A crack is left in the floor, and shadows crawl out of it. They reach for the master, as if recognizing him as the new bearer of the curse. The technique of the Fist of Immortality reaches its limit. The hero's body is covered in cracks, but the pain recedes before the realization that he is closer to true power. Xiao Mu was glad that he had pumped all his points into the immortal fist. After all, it was the only thing that helped him win and survive this flame. He realizes that now, in a crowd of these people who think he's a hero, death will be of the highest rank and he'll get a lot of points. Death in fire is described as a beautiful ritual. The boy discovers a sanctuary where the flames purify souls but not the body. Only the chosen ones can enter it voluntarily. Xiao Mu tests the technique by immersing his body in the fire. But suddenly something interrupts him and the technique stops working. The Santal clan announces a hunt for Xiao Mu. Their warriors surround the temple, ready to destroy whoever dares to defy the ancient ways. The guy uses the scattered wind technique, dissolving among the shadows. His goal is to die as quickly as possible. He realizes that the tongues of flame are gone. He failed again to die quickly and easily. Xiao Mu defeats an evil immortal whose flame suddenly goes out. The people around him attribute this to divine intervention, but the hero knows the truth. A flying dagger cut the connection to the source of the fire. The guy shows off his burn scar, joking about the groin technique. His carelessness hides calculation. Every action was part of a strategy to disarm the enemy. The crowd praises the feat, not noticing that the true savior has remained in the shadows. Xiao Mu senses the presence of someone nearby, an ally, or a new enemy. Amidst the rapture, the hero notices that the dagger has disappeared. This hints at the intervention of a third force that manipulates events to its own advantage. The hero asks for pants, eliciting laughter from his allies. One of them offers a family heirloom, but Xiao Mu refuses. His goals are higher than material possessions. A warning of revenge from the Xiantian sect causes the group to disperse. Guy stays behind, confident in his ability to evade pursuit even in his wounded state. In the forest, he summons an invisible savior. The duty of life demands an answer, but there is no answer. Only the rustling of leaves reminds him of the invisible watcher. Xiao Mu analyzes the situation. The disappearance of the dagger and the help of the anonymous man are connected. Perhaps it's part of a plan where he's a pawn in someone else's game. The secret patron reveals the Emperor's order to rescue Xiao Mu. His actions are not motivated by nobility, but by strategy. A hero is needed for the greater game. The comparison with Xiao Mu's brother emphasizes the unpredictability of the character. Even at the risk of his life, he follows his code. Gratitude and revenge are more important than orders. The Emperor orders the hero to be removed from the sect's grasp. His aide disapproves of the methods, but obeys, hiding his personal ambitions. Xiao Mu, hearing the argument, decides to act independently. He does not trust the authorities, preferring freedom of action, even if it threatens conflict with the Emperor. Discussions among the sect members reveal internal conflicts. The absence of Chayan's older brother complicates the situation. The responsibility falls on the shoulders of the younger ones. The decision to punish the warrior is not about revenge, but about money. A reduction in donations to the temple threatens sanctions. The conspiracy deepens. Mingyue's death from the bone-eating flame shocks the allies. Her death is not only a loss, but also a blow to the reputation of the Xintian sect. The sect discusses Mingyue's failure. Her death is called deserved, but the shame falls on the entire clan. Plans to eliminate Qiao Mu become a priority. Playing Go at the table symbolizes the cold-bloodedness of the conspirators. The use of the cursed talisman is only part of their arsenal. The mention of Xintian Temple as a place of pilgrimage reveals the duality of the sect. Spirituality and lust for power are intertwined. Senior members of the sect ignore ethical standards, justifying cruelty with higher goals. This sets the stage for a future rebellion within the organization. Wu Qingxin's encounter with the Holy Maiden changes the dynamic. Her Lingxi art technique reacts to Qiao Mu, which is against martial union rules. The dialogue is filled with hidden threats. The hero calls himself a seeker of truth, but the Holy Virgin sees him as a threat to the sect. Tension builds. Both feel each other's power. This meeting is just the beginning of a confrontation where magic and martial arts will collide. Wu Qingxin notices that the resonance with the Lingxi art may indicate Qiao Mu's connection to forbidden techniques. This becomes her trump card in the future conflict. The phrase, "even when we are wrong, we are right," reflects the philosophy of the sections. Their authority is unshakable. Criticism is seen as heresy. Qiao Mu faces a system where force replaces morality. His struggle now is not only with his enemies, but also with an ideology that suppresses freedom. The hero realizes that in order to defeat the sect, it is necessary to destroy its ideological basis. This requires not only strength, but also wisdom. He is again framed by the flames and consumed inside himself, our hero screaming and squirming in pain. The battle with the Holy Maiden intensifies. Her flames are 10 times more powerful, but Qiao Mu uses resonance with Lingxi's art to parry the attacks. The mockery of a 6th-ranked warrior hides fear. The Holy Maiden cannot allow weakness even at the cost of her subordinates' lives. The disappearance of 2 presences in the forest hints at the intervention of a 3rd force. The game becomes more complicated and the stakes higher. Qiao Mu notices that the Holy Maiden's flame is fueled by the energy of the sacrificial offerings. This reveals a weakness in her technique. The demon cat finds Qiao Mu, marveling at his resurrection ability. Absorbing the energy of death makes the beast stronger, but useless in battle. Their dialogue is full of irony. The cat would rather be nice than fight. However, his help in the future could be key. Qiao Mu reaches the 4th rank, preparing for spirit purification. The lack of complete techniques is a new obstacle in the way. The hero analyzes the methods of spirit purification. The Fist of Longevity and the Art of Pure Yang are incomplete, but the Art of Lingxi gives a clue. The Holy Maiden's connection with a martial alliance points to the secrets hidden in the spirit's source. Qiao Mu decides to infiltrate her abode. The discovery of the spiritual source location is a turning point. Here he will find answers or new riddles. The hero plans to use resonance techniques to bypass the sect's defenses. It's a risk, but there's no other way to the truth. The infiltration of the Saint Virgin's residence ends in success. The Martial Alliance inscription confirms the sect's connection to the secret organization. Qiao Mu is ready to fight, but his goal is not combat, but knowledge. The 2nd volume of the Fist of Longevity may change the balance of power in the world of immortals. The girl realizes that a traitor has appeared in the association. She looks into the distance with horror and ponders her future fate. In a mountain village rises the Temple of the Holy One, where sacred flames absorb the energy of the world. Rituals of healing and exorcising spirits only mask the true purpose, the accumulation of power to break through to the foundation of immortality. The priests whisper prayers, but their eyes are full of anxiety. The effectiveness of the rituals is too low. Without more energy, the flames will go out, exposing the fragility of their power. The girl watches the ceremony from the shadows. He is not interested in the flames, but in the mystery hidden beneath the temple, the source that feeds the legends of the immortals. A sudden gust of wind vibrates the smoke. The girl notices a crack in the organization, a sign that the system has failed. It's a chance to learn the truth. Society agent Marshall Extreme infiltrates the saint's abode. His disappointment is obvious. The humble dwelling does not fit the image of a powerful sect leader. The captured guard begs for mercy, blaming the burning of the village on Wu Qingxin. His words are a mixture of fear and guile, but there is some truth in them. Xiao Mu analyzes the situation. The sect uses fear to control, and the saint has become a symbol behind which weaknesses hide. The captive girl Xiao Mu asks to be released and says that she is not involved. She was encouraged to join the sect by her father. Through threats, Xiao Zhong forces out the truth about Wu Qingxin's past. A former disciple of Marshal Sane, devoted to them, she defected to the immortal camp after his defeat. 40 years ago, Marshal Sane fell at the hand of an immortal, beginning the decline of the martial arts. His society became a refuge for outcasts without a path. Wu Qingxin, accepted into the sect, quickly surpassed her rivals. Her talent has become a weapon against her teacher's legacy. She now draws martial artists into the sect's net. Xiao Zhong wondered, was the saint's transition an act of betrayal or an attempt to save what was left of the martial arts world? Wu Qingxin's success in the sect was the result of a cunning strategy. After becoming a saint, she turned martial artists into servants who couldn't comprehend the essence of cultivation. Her story inspires some and frightens others. Even those forcibly recruited see her as a symbol of hope without recognizing the trap. Xiao Mu studies the archives. The mass murder of the Qiao family coincided with her elevation. This is no coincidence. The saint wipes out those who threaten her position. At night, the hero decides to break into the shrine. On the walls are murals depicting the fall of Marshal Sane. They hold the key to the longevity fist technique. A disciple of the saint, obsessed with service, reveals the details of her household. Tending to spirit beasts and asceticism is the price for a favor that will never come. Xiao Zhong is amazed at the fanaticism of the sect. Prayers and hardships have turned the followers into slaves who blindly believe they are the chosen ones. The question of Wu Qingxin's power level remains unanswered. Her seclusion before her breakthrough into the foundation is just a cover for darker rituals. The guy sees a yellow seal and remembers that he has met one once before. He grabs the girl's hand and pulls her to cover. Saving the girl from the flames exposes the cruelty of the sect. For the Holy One, human lives are expendable in the pursuit of power. Xiao Mu is faced with a moral dilemma. Stop the ritual now, or let it complete to reveal Wu Qingxin's true goals. An orphan girl becomes an unwilling witness. Her eyes reflect horror. She has seen what should have remained a secret. The hero decides to act. Each step increases the resonance with Lindsay's art. The technique reacts to his presence. Xiao Zhong declares revenge for his brother, who was burned by the sect. His anger is directed not only at Wu Qingxin, but also at the system that spawned her. The dialogue with the society agent reveals a double game. His sister taunts him, but her words reveal her fear of Marshal Sane. Xiao Zhong realizes that his family has become a bargaining chip in a war between sections. Revenge is only the beginning of the journey to destroy this order. The girl looks at the protagonist angrily and tells him that it doesn't matter when Xiao Mu dies. He will be killed by the members of the association anyway. The spiritual resonance technique links Wu Qingxin to Marshal Sane. Her attempt to break the link resulted in her joining a sect, but the chain remained. Xiao Zhong unravels the plot. The saint is afraid that the teacher will return to punish her. Her power is an illusion backed by fear. The Emperor's flying guards who save the hero turn out to be part of the puzzle. Their intervention is not an accident, but an element of someone's grand scheme. A confrontation with Wu Qingxin exposes her fears. Marshal Sane's betrayal and the connection with the emperor are pieces of the mosaic that Xiao Zhong is piecing together. Her accusations against the hero only confirm his hunches. The sect fears exposure, and the emperor uses both sides to consolidate power. Xiao Zhong rejects any connection to the palace. His goal is not the throne, but the destruction of the system that has turned martial arts into a tool of tyranny. The boy analyzes the guardian's blade. On the blade is a symbol identical to the one he saw in the temple. The game gets more dangerous. Great Emperor Yang remains a mystery. Xiao Jun tries to find out his whereabouts, but the saint answers evasively. Her cold tone hides her fear. Even she doesn't know the whole truth. The conflict escalates as the slightest provocation causes Wu Qingxin to attack. The hero retreats, realizing that direct questions only strengthen her suspicions. Guy runs away from the yellow seal because he doesn't want to become a burnt piece of meat. He teases her, telling her that she won't succeed this time. A silent exchange of glances replaces words. The captive tries to say something, but fear paralyzes his lips. A reticence hangs in the air. The sect knows how to silence. Qiao Mu notices a scar on the captive's neck, the mark of a ritual to suppress his will. This explains his submission, but does not justify his betrayal. The girl apologizes for what she did. She set Xiao down and put a seal on his back. Xiao Mu burns in the flames. Each offering intensifies the flame, but weakens the ties between the sect and the martial artists. A split is inevitable. Wu Qingxin accepts the tributes, but there is no satisfaction in her eyes. These offerings are just a screen for the main purpose of accumulating energy for a breakthrough. The humiliated aristocrat swears fealty, promising to build new temples. His trembling hands betray his fear. The saint has turned him into a puppet. The threat of annihilation of the Liu clan hangs in the air. The saint demonstrates her power by burning her armor with her gaze. Her power is growing, but her control is weakening. Senior Son reports the arrival of the Flying Guardians. The news excites the sect. The Imperial agents are too close to their secrets. The Elder dreams of pills that accelerate cultivation. His ambition is blind. The sect uses the followers as fuel for the ambitions of the top. She discovers a laboratory. The flasks contain extracts of martial artists' life force. That explains the frequent disappearances in the region. One day a girl will join the rank of immortals and remain forever a seal in the sky. Xiao Pifu's death takes on a new meaning. His sacrifice is not a feat, but part of a ritual where life has become a currency to be exchanged for power. Visions after resurrection shock the hero. The C grade for death is a mockery of a system where even death is ranked by effectiveness. Qiao Muvo's revenge. His anger is directed not only at Wu Qingxin, but also at Marshal Sane, whose games have made his brother a pawn. The spiritual resonance technique links the sect to the martial extreme society. Xiao Zhong deciphers the records. Wu Qingxin is a puppet in the hands of the teacher. Heian is crawling with agents of the Cabal. Their goal is not to destroy the sect, but to control its resources. The clan war is a diversionary spectacle. He realizes he wouldn't know the information without feeling the city sneaking up on him with a marshal of extreme and its members. The Dian Emperor appears in Heian, causing a ripple in the Xintian sect. The elders see this as a chance to consolidate their influence, and their plan begins to take shape. Wu Qingxin sends a message, confirming the presence of the ruler. Her role in the game remains ambivalent, obedient saint or secret manipulator. The elder son hides his anxiety behind a mask of confidence. The ritual on Qingming Mountain is supposed to be a public humiliation for the emperor, but doubts gnaw at him from within. Elder Tianqing reveals the details of the deal. Emperor Yunhe is to visit the sacred mountain incognito. His pilgrimage is the key to legitimizing the sect's power. However, the emperor's avoidance of contact is alarming. Qiyin, the temple caretaker, suspects a game. The flying guards rescued the martial artificer, disrupting the sect's plans. The dialogue exposes the contempt for mortals. To the sect, the emperor is a puppet whose crown is but a clown's cap in the jungle of power. Xiao Mu, watching from the shadows, marks the coordinates of the mountain. This place will be the scene of the final confrontation. Elders despise worldly power. Their goal is control of resources and faith, not the throne. To them, the emperor is a monkey king whose ambitions are ridiculous. Qian suggests the strategy is to manipulate, not rule. The sect prepares for a ceremony where worshipping the emperor will solidify their status among the 9 clans. The sect's plan involves undermining the emperor's authority through public humiliation. His knees must touch the ground in front of their idols. The red-haired man stands up and addresses everyone to propose the idea that everything doesn't matter much. It will take half a month to accomplish their goal. The senior sects decide to keep Wu Qingxin as bait. Her title of saint is a trap for Marshal Sane, who still hasn't come out of the shadows. The investigation into Xiao Pifu's death shows no connection to the destroyed clan. This hints at falsification. The sect erases inconvenient facts. At night, a mention of the heavenly demon decay technique is found in the archives. Her connection to the defunct Xiao clan becomes obvious. Looking at his reflection in his plate, he thinks about their sect and speculates that it has been many years since it was founded. The legends of the Qiao family stir the court. Their code of honor and self-destruction techniques evoke a mixture of admiration and fear, even among the immortals. The elders discuss the decay technique with disdain. To them, it is a symbol of despair, but Xiao Zhong sees it as the key to destroying the sect. He hears something overhead and doesn't understand where the sound is coming from or what it means. The sudden appearance of a wanderer interrupts the council. His aura contradicts the laws of nature, as if death itself had entered the hall. Qiang personally visits the emperor, disguising threats as courtesy. His visit is a reminder that the deadline is looming and Mount Qingming is waiting for its pilgrim. The emperor maintains his composure, but there is a flicker of fear in his eyes. Even surrounded by guards, he can feel the sect's noose around his neck. The kid is watching the meeting. Qian's every word is recorded. This evidence will become a weapon against the sect. The unmasking of the flying star technique reveals the failure of the guards. Wu Qingxin, Marshal Sane's apprentice, recognized the style by subtle nuances. Qian reproaches the emperor for his imprudence. The rescue of the martial artist turned out to be a fatal mistake, revealing the court's connection with the society. At night, the kid practices with his daggers. Each throw is an attempt to replicate the flying star to deceive the sect's vigilance. The sect suddenly disowns Wu Qingxin, declaring her in exile. This move puts the emperor on edge. Publicly punishing the saint seems too ideal. Qian presses the emperor, demanding immediate departure. His courtesy evaporates, revealing the steely will of the sect. Xiao Mu finds traces of forged documents. Wu Qingxin's exile is a play to trap Marshal Sane. Qian sits on a throne and addresses the man with the message that the Huangtian sect has decided to act. The emperor doubts the motives of the sect. Their justice is too convenient to be true. He orders the guards to redouble their vigilance. Xiao Zhong infiltrates the emperor's caravan. His goal is not assassination, but a switch. The route to Qingming should lead to the sect's fortress, not the mountain. At night, Providence shows him the future. The flames will consume the emperor if he kneels. This is the point of no return for the entire continent. The guy goes and notices the unwelcome interlocutor, but there is no fear in the man's eyes, only curiosity and hidden mockery. A man introduces himself as Jiang Chun, a wandering narrator. He claims to have information that could change the balance of power in Heian. The boy lets him go, but keeps his hand on the hilt of his sword. This meeting could be the beginning of an alliance or a trap set by a cult. The bandit recognizes Xiao Zhong as a member of a famous family. His gratitude for saving his family is mixed with admiration. The legends of Qiao's exploits are alive among the people. The conversation turns to resistance to the corrupt court. The narrator reveals his role. Through stories, he inspires the people to fight the immortal clans. Xiao Zhong notices the hidden weapon under his interlocutor's cloak. Jiang Chun is not just a storyteller, but an experienced warrior with a mastery of movement techniques. Jiang Chun confesses a connection to Tingqiao Tower, an organization that survived the fall of the old martial arts world. Their leader, the 100 Knowledge, collects data from all over the continent. Weapon ratings, lists of heroes. All these things are created to influence minds. But the mention of brothel guides makes Xiao Zhong chuckle. Even spies have weaknesses. Guy wonders if this group can become an ally against the Xintian sect. Information is a weapon, and Tingqiao has plenty of it. Tingqiao Tower is losing credibility due to absurd rankings. A list of scandals and martial arts beauties distract from the main goal of fighting clan tyranny. Hio Yun asks for details. The jokes hide an important detail. The organization is tracking everyone who practices the rhinoceros spirit technique, Marshal Sane's key method. Jiang Chan reluctantly admits even he doesn't know all of Tingqiao's secrets. Their network is deeper than it seems, and their goals are darker. The Marshal Sane Association announces a hunt for Wu Qingxin. The reward for her head is rare techniques that can elevate any warrior to the level of immortals. Jiang Chun reveals the association's plans. Killing Saint should weaken the Xintian sect, but Xiao Zhong suspects that Marshal Saint himself is behind it. The narrator's farewell is filled with a double meaning. His offer to have tea sounds like a hint of future cooperation. Xiao Zhong is considering joining the hunt. Killing Wu Qingxin will give him access to the longevity fist, a technique that can change his destiny. He remembers his brother, burned by a cult. Revenge and lust for power become intertwined, pushing him towards a risky decision. He runs, balancing duty and temptation. The choice will determine not only his fate, but the future of the entire continent.